And it says we're live. Hello! All right, this is sound check portion, people. Let us know how we sound. Dave, say something.
Something.
All right.
FYI, I strongly dislike Beach Boys, so I'm going to head out after opening stuff. Strongly dislike.
Was this Bronco Fett?
Yeah.
Dude, stick around. Trust me. This is going to be an educational episode. You should listen. It's going to be good. I was not a huge Beach Boys fan either. Spoiler alert. But just anyway, it's not like we're playing Beach Boys songs.
Right.
We're breaking down an album.
Right.
Going a little bit into their history.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I hate oldies. Whatever. And you know what? There's going to be a considerable portion of our audience that is not going to be into this, and that's cool.
Yeah.
We don't care.
But trust me, that was me also. That was me not that long ago.
Yep.
And again, we'll get into it when we get into our histories and everything else.
Yeah. So hang in there for as long as you possibly can. Give us a download. Hit that like button on the YouTubes if you're liking it, and leave us a review and all that good shit. We're sound checking right now. We're not part of the show, 3PO. Otherwise it's just you can hate oldies all you want. It doesn't affect me one way or the other.
And it doesn't take away from the entertainment value of our program.
Facts. And I really, it doesn't affect me one way or the other. And Sweet Studios is sowing the seeds of marital discord in the Olsen household.
Okay.
Straight away, like just as we go live.
All right,
it is already happening.
Well, don't leave too early there, Nick, because I got some things to say directly to you and the other poser in the room. So,
is this regarding other content creation?
We'll get to it.
All right, fair enough. All right, so how do we sound? Did we get clicks?
I think we did get some good affirmation.
Do we have positive? I'm scrolling, looking for clicks. Okay, I see Lunar Girl. Sound is great. Bacon pancakes, bacon pancakes, bacon pancakes.
What is that?
It's an Adventure Time thing.
Oh, I never watched that.
Bacon pancakes.
Sure.
Oh my god, it's fucking.
Oh fuck! I should get this or that queued up. Yeah.
Yeah, you should. You've never seen. It's so funny. All right, we got a click. It's official.
All right, we're definitely good then.
Yep, it's official. We can start.
Okay. So we're going a little early, guys. It's just what we're doing. Don't really care.
Bacon pancakes.
Did you get it all out of your system?
No, God no. What's gonna happen?
Jesus.
All right, are we ready for extra loud intro?
Yeah.
All right. We probably need to shut off the
it's good
heater.
Oh. Fucking. It's fucking cold in here.
This heater's still.
But it's closer to you.
Facts.
Whatever. I always get the short end of the stick here.
I mean, we could roll it closer to you.
It doesn't matter. Let's just go. Just go, man.
All right. Should we wait till a plane goes by?
Probably.
Bacon pancakes, bacon pancakes. It's either Blue's Clues or bacon pancakes at this point.
I think I prefer Blue's Clues.
Bacon pancakes.
Do.
Blue's could do.
See, that reference I know.
Bacon pancakes.
Oh my god.
And now there's a train. Son of a bitch. We're never starting. We're going to start on time. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, right?
So
much for going early.
Yeah.
And there goes the train.
I feel like there's fucking... Oh, God.
Are you all right?
No. God, no. Establish this. All right, ready?
Your toast.
Ready, go.
For the Red 5 Network.
And I want to congratulate the Red 5 Network and vicariously to us, I guess.
Yes, congratulations to us.
To us. Congratulations, Jason.
And to you too, Dave.
They
For
had
what exactly?
the first annual Parsec Awards
Yes.
was this past weekend.
Yes,
on
Saturday night.
On
right?
Saturday.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a good time. We were both there in the chat.
Yep, we were in the chat
Watching
for as
live.
long as we possibly could because it started a little later.
For us East Coasters, yeah.
Yep, and this Red. We got. I can't think of when we actually joined the whole Red 5 network. It's over the summer.
My whole life is a blur at this point.
Yeah,
so who
right.
the hell knows?
Between COVID time and everything else, it was this year. It happened.
Yes.
And it's been kind of a whirlwind thing, and honestly, without Lunar Girl, we would be probably severely disconnected from everything that's going on in the world of Red 5. So we have Lunar Girl to thank for all of our connectivity and our connection to Red 5. And it's been a lot of fun. The Parsec Awards was a lot of fun. You can find us in the Parsec Awards about minute 35 is when we did our presentation. But to knock out the Red 5 stuff, since we're talking about it already, before we start anything else, I have a nice little read here. I'm going to go ahead and read it.
You're going to do that now?
I'm going to do it right now.
All right, do it now.
The first annual Parsec Fan Awards were this Saturday. We already said that. And they were an amazing success! Exclamation point. Special thanks to Scarif Scuttlebutt co-host and Red 5 Network creator, our podfather, Ro. Also to Coruscant Radio science fictionary co-host, Andrew. They literally spent hundreds of hours putting this together. From first creating the online ballots, counting votes, creating promos, and getting all of our asses in gear, literally, to weeks of editing all of our segments. Many sleepless nights and pots of coffee were had. Thank you for organizing all of it. It was very well put together.
Yeah, the production value was there,
yes,
for sure.
For sure. We also want to thank our friend and brother 97 Bravo, 90, the number 7 Bravo, for hosting the after party where he dug into everything it took to put it together. Sadly, I could not stay up.
Yeah, we had to give the Irish goodbye.
Yeah, it just got too late. But I understand it was a killer after party, so thanks to 97 Bravo for putting that together. Some quick facts about the Parsec Awards. There were 20 other Red 5 podcasters besides us as part of the Parsec Awards. There were 5 podcasters who are friends to Red 5 also, so 25 total.
Math.
To create an hour and 45 minutes of skits, informational segments, commercial parodies, and award presentations. At one point, there were 53 people in the live chat, and as of last night, it was the highest streamed video ever on Red 5 channel on YouTube.
Sweet.
Congratulations to Dominic Pace for winning the Ready Award. He's that guy, if you don't remember, Dominic Pace. He's Gecko, the bounty hunter, who I met.
Yes. He liked one of my posts on Instagram last week, too.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. He actually just got to do cosplay as Gecko.
Sweet.
At one of the cons. So very, very cool. I hope he is able to springboard some more Star Wars success out of that. Because really good guy. He's truly an asset to the world and a close friend to Red 5. If you haven't seen it, go to the Red 5 Network on YouTube, subscribe, and give it a watch. I mean, we were in it, again, around minute 35. I think 34-ish is when we started. And I think Lunar Girl has a spot also at the end. In fact, I know she does.
Yes.
So, in fact, Lunar Girl is, let's face it, her fingerprints are all over this thing.
Yep.
In addition, check out and subscribe to all the other Red 5 Network pods on bio.link/red5. That's bio.link/red5. And subscribe to the following Red 5 friends on YouTube. The Halo Chronicles. No, Hollow. I'm sorry. Hollow Chronicles. Hollow Chronicles. Like the HoloNet. Hollow Chronicles.
Yes.
Yeah, just
yes.
like that. Adventures in Locksmithing. That sounds interesting.
Indeed.
All right, I was working on some lockpicking actually this week.
Were you?
Over the break.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, my skills have declined severely.
Put a pin in that.
Yeah.
For now.
I'll talk about that later. Rebel Roses. And last but not least, Cam and Bub, the monkey lizard at Cam Ray Semi Productions, Cam was the guy. You'll see him with it throughout the Parsec Awards.
Yeah. Speaking of fingerprints being all over the place.
Yeah, no shit. And we'll talk more Red 5 stuff after the show.
Sweet. Well, that being said, hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Sidebar Cantina, the podcast where we talk about Star Wars, pop culture, the American legal system, or whatever the fuck we feel like talking about.
I don't want to talk about the American legal system at all.
I'm Mr. Jason Roskam. With me each and every single week, the booth in the back to my defamation lawsuit, Dave Martin. Hello, Dave.
Hello, Jason.
How are you?
Oh God! Apparently I've missed a really good booth in the back. I have yet to catch up on it.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that more when we get to our weeks. But what else are we talking about this week?
We are talking about an amazing album.
Yes.
Just in and of itself. Whether you are into oldies or into the Beach Boys or not into the Beach Boys or anything else, this is an album that I think if you're into music,
yes,
that has a lot to offer.
Yeah, if you are into music that you can appreciate, you can dissect,
there's a lot going on. It is Pet Sounds by the Beach Boys, an
Yeah.
album that came out in 1966, which was
55 years ago.
55.
Yes. So we're talking about Pet Sounds, and we're going to get into a little bit of the history of the Beach Boys too, but mostly it's going to be focusing on the Pet Sounds album. Lots to talk about when it comes to that, but we've got all kinds of other shit to get to as well. So Dave already spilled the Red 5 beans, and now we're going to jump right into a segment that we do every single week on the show called This or That, where our social media director, Luna Girl, puts up a poll on our Instagram. And what is our Instagram, Dave?
At the Sidebar Cantina.
All right. Thought I lost you for a second there.
Yeah.
And she gives you two options, and you pick one, and we go over the results here on the show. Obviously, this being the Beach Boys focused episode, kind of music, oldies. So let's jump right into it. Classic summertime vibes. The Beach Boys, or is it the Beach Boys? The Surfaris Wipeout. Thought that was
It's not the Beach Boys.
Okay.
No, it's not.
And then Summer in the City.
Right.
I went with Wipeout because I actually recognized it. I don't know what Summer in the City is by the Lovin' Spoonful.
Summer in the City? Like,
I got nothing.
Lovin' Spoonful, if you should throw that into your Apple Music and listen. You'd actually enjoy it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Wipeout won 70% to 30%.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I think Wipeout has more curb appeal. I think because more people know what that is.
I really thought Wipeout was by the Beach Boys, too.
It is not.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
You learn something new every day. Yeah. All right. Next.
I mean, the album cover is right there. I mean, it doesn't say Beach Boys.
Right. That's why I paused for a second as I'm reading. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Anyway, moving on. Classic bad boy songs. I Fought the Law. I recognize that song. And Wild Thing. Dun, dun. Dun, dun,
Wow,
dun,
I
dun.
think I picked Wild Thing.
Yeah, me too. But not for the reason you would think. Do you remember the Sam Kinison version of Wild Thing that he released in the late 80s, I want to say?
I don't.
Oh, you got to Google that. Jessica Hahn, like, rolling around on stage with, like, a whole bunch of, like, popular, like, 80s rock stars at the time. You had fucking Bon Jovi, Motley Crue, fucking, oh, God.
I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about.
The one guy. Anyway, good music video. So, but yeah, I picked Wild Thing, and Wild Thing won 73% to 27%.
I thought you were going
Billy Idol. Jesus Christ.
I thought you were going with Wild Thing from Major League when Charlie Sheen came on the field.
My favorite part of that was at the very end when they're like playing in the final game and Wild Thing comes on and the fucking that owner chick, she's like, I hate this fucking song.
Mm-hmm.
That was the best line.
You're allowed one F-bomb.
Yep.
And there it was.
Oh, it's good shit. All right. Some Motown sound. You've got You Can't Hurry Love by the Supremes and Cool Jerk by the Capitals. I went with You Can't Hurry Love because I actually recognized it, though I'm more familiar with the Phil Collins version. But I'm also familiar with the Supremes version. Never heard of Cool Jerk nor the Capitals.
I forget which one I picked.
Okay.
Damn it.
Well, hopefully you picked Can't Hurry Love because that one won 77% to 23%.
Probably went with that one.
All right.
Can I go back and look at what I selected?
No.
Is that a thing?
No, you can't.
Damn it.
Next, we've got Groovin', the Mamas and the Papas, Monday Monday, or Last Train from the Monkees. I actually know both of these songs.
The Monkees. The fucking monkeys.
Yeah, we're gonna have some stuff to talk about later.
The fucking monkeys.
So,
how do you not pick the monkeys?
Because I didn't like the Monkees.
Fuck you.
My only exposure to the Monkees was that fucking TV show that they would have on at Nick at Night. I didn't know they were a real band. I thought they were just like these people in this fucking TV show. So, and even then, after I found that out, still don't like their fucking music. It reminds me, again, we're going to get into it when we talk about the Beach Boys. So we'll put a pin in that. But I picked Monday. I know Mamas and the Papas, though they had much better songs than that. California Dreamin', far better song, but whatever. Then we have Paperback Writer from the Beatles or Paint It Black from the Rolling Stones.
If I have to pick between the two, I'm always going to pick the Beatles.
Yeah, I think I picked the Beatles too, but I don't really remember. But Paint It Black won 55% to 45%.
Yeah, I think the Stones are overrated.
That seems to be a theme. Like I've heard that from multiple people. So
yeah, I mean the Beatles. I grew up with, my parents were into the Beatles, so I heard a lot of the Beatles growing up. So. And I enjoy the sound. I like their music. The Stones, I just was never... I mean, it's not like it's terrible music.
No.
I just have never been, like, so into the fucking Stones. I just never did it.
All right. Well, we'll save that discussion for another time. And that's it for this week's This or That. So thank you again to our social media director, Lunar Girl, for putting that together for us.
Yes, another amazing one.
Before we get into our weeks, over the last week, they've released a couple of little 30-second spots for the Book of Boba Fett show.
There was more than one?
There was another one that came out this morning.
I saw the one from this morning. I guess I missed another one.
Yeah, there was one like 3 or 4 days ago.
Oh, shit.
That also, and yeah, there's nothing like crazy, like no storyline importance, just very quick flashes, a couple of scenes. Mostly it's just building the hype for the Book of Boba Fett, and it's really starting to build because it's been a fucking year since we finished Mandalorian, and you know we've been kind of. What am I looking at? All right, are we doing this?
We're doing it.
All right.
Hello?
Hey, Kate, you're on the show.
Does the show need to know when I'm off for Christmas?
No, the show means you're on the podcast.
Alright, I'll text you.
All right.
Love you.
Love you too. Bye.
This has been this week's segment of Dave's Family Calls Him mid-podcast.
The problem is, even on Do Not Disturb, like, immediate, like, family gets through. Sorry, everyone.
No worries. But anyway, they're really starting to build up the hype for Book of Boba Fett, and it's about fucking time because it seems like it's been for fucking ever since The Mandalorian ended.
Yeah, facts.
So, yeah, it's good to have some more live-action Star Wars coming our way soon.
Agreed.
But that's all, and I just wasn't sure if you had watched all of those.
I did. I watched the 30-second one today. You know, it's interesting, you know, without breaking down too much of it, because like you said, there wasn't, like, a lot to break down.
Mm-hmm.
You makes you wonder, like, back to tank, like he's in the back to, like, is that something he has to do all the time? Is it
That's a good question.
Is it kind of like a Vader thing where he has to be in the chamber?
Well, I was wondering if that was like maybe a flashback to right after he crawled out of the Sarlacc.
Yeah.
So
it'll be interesting.
Yeah.
It'll be really interesting how they do this. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be great. And apparently it comes out on Bronco Fett's birthday. So
oh, sweet.
Can you imagine a better birthday present from Bronco Fett?
I couldn't.
I couldn't either. And
I really hope at some point they address Omega in Book of Boba Fett, because technically she's his sister, right? She's the only other unaltered clone of Jango Fett. So I really hope that we get some sort of crossover tie-in there between the two.
They're not going to do anything with that.
Why would they do that then? If they weren't going to... Whatever. All right. That's a debate.
100%. I will put a...
We got $2 right here on the mixer already.
I will put one of those dollars. You already know those are your dollars from fucking Harbaugh coaching this year.
Oh, that is true.
Bag of shit. I will get another $1 and I will put it on there that says that Book of Boba Fett is not going to have any Omega references whatsoever.
All right, fair enough.
You heard it here first.
Yep. All right, that being said, are we ready to get into our weeks?
Yes.
All right. So we had this little holiday called Thanksgiving last week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, and me and my family had the easiest Thanksgiving ever.
Yep. Truly American holiday, by the way.
Absolutely. And this is fucking America. So
Right.
this is how we do it.
Well, I say that, and before you're ready to jump in this, and I say that because we have Australians at work, right? And seeing this holiday through their eyes is very, very interesting
Oh yeah.
because of the idea, like the food. They don't get the food at all,
Right.
right? They don't get the food. Things like the gobbler at Wawa and just like turkey and cranberry sauce and just rah, this massive overeating and everything else on this random Thursday in November. It's completely mind-boggling to them.
Yeah.
Even though they've been here for a couple years for it, it's just like, why are we off on Thursday? It's Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
What is that? Like, it's just very, very funny.
Which, for us Americans who've been doing this for over 40 years, it's huge.
Yeah.
It's so huge because a big part of it obviously is family, right? You get together with family that you maybe haven't seen in a while and big gatherings and
or drive away from family.
That too. So speaking of that, 2 of our sons went up to Massachusetts to go spend Thanksgiving with Kristen's family, who's all from up there.
Right.
So that left me, Kristen, and our middle son, Adam, here in Jersey by ourselves. No other family, because her siblings both went up to Massachusetts. So it was literally just the 3 of us. So we went over to the fucking Hibachi Grill over in Cinnamonson and just had some nice all-you-can-eat Chinese food for our Thanksgiving. Easiest ever.
You didn't get any no poison. They didn't poison you at all.
I'm still alive.
Oh,
So what? 4 days later. So
okay,
still here.
very good.
But yeah, no, it was great. It was cheap too, considering we were only paying for 3 of us.
Nice.
So that was awesome. I mentioned last week that I was buying that new Pokemon game.
Yeah.
And I did. I bought the Pokemon Brilliant Diamond for the Nintendo Switch. And I've been playing it a decent amount, especially with the time off and everything. I've got like 6.5 hours game time in it. I love too how games these days, they'll tell you like the amount of time that you've played it, because back in the day when we were younger and we had all this free time, it was like, oh yeah, look how many hours. It was like a badge of honor, like I got 200 hours in fucking Oblivion. And now it's like, hey fucking loser, look, you just spent 6.5 hours doing this when you could have been doing something real, you fucking nerd. So it's like,
it's still a badge of honor to me. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. But yeah, I've been playing that, been having a ton of fun with it. So if you've ever played any of the previous Pokemon games, this new one for the Switch, the Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, are pretty good.
Yeah, Kate actually, because we went out to State College to see Kate for Thanksgiving, and she was playing, her and her boyfriend were playing the Diamond.
Yeah.
So it's Pokemon, hooray!
Yeah, the games don't really change from generation to generation. The graphics get better, but the gameplay stays the same. So if you're into that kind of gameplay, then boom.
There you go.
Yep. Today is my son's birthday. My oldest son, Rob, turns 19 today.
It's today?
That is today. And
why did I think it was last week?
No, it was. It is today, and I haven't even seen him today because I had to get up early for work this morning, like a fucking chump, and then he fucked off with his friends. Like he left with them about 15 minutes before I got home, so I may not see him at all today on his birthday.
Wow!
But I guess that kind of happens when you have older kids 19. At this point.
Yeah, fuck it.
Yeah, so I'm sure, you had those moments with your son and daughter where,
and yeah, you get used to it quickly, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like once it's all over, then it's just like,
especially once they leave the nest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It has its moments where it's kind of nice.
Yeah. This is that first time where I've missed a birthday just because my son
you
was
were
older.
here and he wasn't.
Yeah. So it's weird.
He's probably in the house now. You just don't know it.
Yeah, maybe. But happy birthday, Rob.
Yes. Happy birthday, Rob.
The last thing I already mentioned, the defamation of character that the booth in the back has continuously thrown at me all year.
Right.
But it was even more pronounced this last Wednesday when a couple of stand-ins took over for the real booth in the back people.
Okay.
And just were, again, saying some very unkind things about your fantasy football defending champion and the current #1 seed. And I don't appreciate it. And you know what? This disrespect will not stand, and I have my legal team drafting up a cease and desist order as we speak to end these vicious lies and this fake news that the booth in the back is constantly throwing at me. So they're on my radar.
Okay.
So I just want to mention that. And for anybody who doesn't know what the fuck we're talking about, the Booth in the Back is a show that's on every Wednesday night, exclusively streamed in the private Facebook group, the
Right.
Sidebar Cantina.
Right.
So, and they recap our fantasy football league.
Yes.
And apparently they've been recapping it very poorly this year because they are not giving credit where credit is due to the greatest fantasy football player in the league,
Right.
defending champion, current number 1 seed, yours truly.
You're having a rough day, a rough weekend of it, though.
Yeah,
now.
I mean, there's a chance I could still lose this week.
Yep.
Unlikely, but there is a chance.
Hmm.
So we'll see. We'll see how tonight goes.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I'm not saying shit. I'm not saying shit because somehow, I went from having like the worst team in the league for the first like 3 weeks to I'm suddenly the 2nd seed.
Yeah.
So I am not.
You've been
saying
kicking
that.
ass, and it's
Goddamn
funny too.
thing.
It's the interesting thing about you is you've got 3 losses, but you've only lost to 2 people.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and you were 2 of them.
that's right. I
Fucking-
just wanted to bring that up.
Cocksucker.
All right, that's my week. What's been going on with you?
Yeah, you're a dick. Hang on. Hold on. So, I'm going to start off by saying I apologize in advance for any.
I love when a conversation gets started. I apologize in advance.
Well, so I may be more like stop and go more than usual because I hit my head really hard yesterday. I decided to try and basically headbutt the fucking door frame of my car from about 3 feet out. Think, just that deal where you're moving towards something like it's not there and then suddenly it's there. Yeah, that was the top of my head into the door frame as I was trying to get some shit out of the back of the car.
Ugh.
And yeah, it's been quite the light show ever since.
Did you like black out a little bit at first?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, see, the problem with I'm very definitely dealing with some grade of concussion, and the concussions are aggregate, right? So I know when I was coaching football, we went through all this training on concussions and concussion protocol and recognition and all this other bullshit. So I know better. But I mean, you just like we came from this really, really stupid generation of like, did you pass out? Did you throw up? No. Right? Are you conscious now? Like, are you still throwing up?
Yeah.
If the answer is no to either of these things, then fucking press.
Yeah.
Like, keep going. And so going to, I just, yesterday driving back from after smashing said head, I realized later taking a very circuitous route to get to a store that was 10 minutes away. It's been very fucking, I haven't been 100%. So again, I apologize if I seem like I'm off the rails more than usual. So saying that, for Thanksgiving, we did, my daughter Kate, who had called and graced us with her voice on the podcast,
As she does from time to time.
as she does, because it's Monday night at the same exact time every fucking week. Why would this week be any different? Oh no, it's whatever. Anyway, we drove out to State College to see my daughter, which it was super, super nice. I mean, me personally, I would rather, it might be super, super selfish, but I would rather go to where she is and spend the time out there with her than like making a big deal about having, because if she came, like she's fostering a dog right now. So like she went through like this whole amazing thing where this dog was really near death that they found. It was wandering around and they've been nursing it back to health. Really, really nice dog. so they've been taking care of that and everything else. So it's like, it just makes so much more sense for Kathy and I just to go out there, right?
Sure.
If we're off, they have their work schedules, they have their stuff to do. I would much rather go to them and kind of, I don't. We did a family thing on Wednesday, with Kathy's family and her sister-in-law's fiance's family. That was on Wednesday. Ugh.
Okay.
Yeah, something like that. And that was on Wednesday, and then we left Thursday and we drove up there, and we stayed up there till Friday. Saw snow on Friday.
Oh shit.
Oh yeah, it went from 50 degrees to like 28 degrees and like snowing. Like, wow, this is different. And it was
of the year.
Yeah. But it was nice. It was nice to go out there and spend Thanksgiving out there. Had a nice dinner. Came back and just in time to fucking sit through a horrific Saturday and Sunday of fucking football. I don't know why I abuse myself with football. I really don't. So here's the thing. I don't like this weekend, right? If you're not football fans, tune out for half a second. This weekend was the Ohio State Michigan game, right? Big deal for Ohio State and Michigan. This alleged fucking Michigan fan, whatever. Anyway,
wow.
The
the Ohio State team that you said that Michigan would never beat, right?
Right. I did say that, and I put money on it. Like, not only did I say that, I also went and fucking on my, I put money on it, legit, because I didn't think they would do it, and as it turns out, they fucking did it. The one time I need Ohio State to do something, they can't fucking do it. So fuck Ohio State. And look, I don't like Ohio State. I never really did. And truth be told, Michigan isn't the problem. It's Harbaugh. I hate fucking Harbaugh.
Oh, we know. That's
fucking,
well documented.
He's so fucking overrated. If Harbaugh was, I don't know, at Purdue, I'd hate fucking Purdue the same way, right? And I would just hate Michigan as a rival, not necessarily like it is. I'd still hate Ohio State. So ordinarily, I'd be rooting for Michigan to beat Ohio State. This is one fucking time, and they can't fucking pull it off. So now it's all fucked. Now I got Michigan going to the goddamn Big Ten championship. Well, for first time for them, by the way. Going to this Big Ten championship game against an Iowa team that if those fuckers lose, if Khakis goes to that game and fucking screws the pooch, which he very well might, he is well within his capability, that means there won't be a single Big Ten team in the college football playoff because of Jim Harbaugh. Not the players. He's got very talented players on that football team. And they played outside of themselves against Ohio State. They wanted that win. And they got it. Good for them. But now I have to fucking root for Michigan State. Or Michigan. Now I have to root for those fuckers so that I can see a Big Ten team go to the college football playoff. So, damn you. So then that happens. Like, fuck. Trying to have a relaxing day watching football. They fucking, oh, well, at least I'll watch Penn State. Now I watch Penn State fucking lose to Michigan State. I'm like, God, motherfuckers. So I sit there and watch that, and it's fucking horrific. And then yesterday, the Eagles.
Well, we knew it was going to be a real rebuilding season for the Eagles. So.
The fucking Giants. The Giants.
I'm
Giants.
I'm trying to put some sort of a positive.
Lunar Girl, you know that your New York football fucking Giants suck ass. Giant donkey ass.
So what does that say about the Eagles?
They fucking they suck worse donkey ass.
Yeah. Nope.
Jason. So anyway. So it was terrible. It was terrible sports weekend. Just it was just bad. And unfortunately, I'm a sports nerd, and on the weekend, this is what I get into. This is what I get passionate about. And fuck. What?
What?
Oh, Jalen Hurts was one of our best players yesterday for the Giants. Yes, he was. Yes, he was. Congratulations. And you can have him. You know what? You can have him at half the price. I will offer him to you. No fucking sweat.
Well, I'm telling you, Jimmy G is going to be on the trade block this offseason. So
don't give them any ideas. You know what? And the last thing, what we did, for us at our house, Thanksgiving, you talk about for Americans, for most Americans, I would like to think, the Thanksgiving weekend is kind of the kickoff for Christmas.
Yeah.
It's the start of the holiday season. It's the holiday season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the day after is Black Friday.
Right.
And...
So you have all the shopping stuff and all the frivolous spending and all that other bullshit, right? Good deals to be had, all that fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to get any Christmas, no decorating or anything else until after Thanksgiving. It could be Thanksgiving the afternoon of.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
But not until Thanksgiving. So we got back from State College. I got out the Christmas decorations and we got our tree up and moved stuff around. So, and then yesterday worked at the lodge and got the lodge decorating up. So I'm about Christmased out.
Yeah.
It's like I've inhaled enough glitter. Got enough fucking dust from the Christmas shit where that was at. I think poor Kathy's got she's dust allergy real bad, so it's like super congested from it, and yeah, it's the holiday season.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it's funny, Bronco Fett brings up the only Beach Boys music that he likes was the Beach Boys Christmas music.
Yeah.
And we can talk about it a little bit more when we're talking about Beach Boys stuff in particular.
Well, because this is not the first time on the podcast that the Beach Boys Christmas has been brought up.
Yes, facts.
So,
absolute facts. So yeah, and knowing Bronco Fett, he might have brought it up in that way just to talk about it. So I'm done for my week.
I just want to say one thing about Black Friday.
Yeah.
I think we touched on this a little bit last year, where last year was one of the first years I didn't really go crazy on Black Friday, didn't buy a shitload of stuff. Mm-hmm. This year, I barely did anything on Black Friday. I bought like one video game on Steam and like one video game on the Nintendo Switch shop, and that was it. Like, I didn't buy anything on Black Friday.
I bought these.
Oh, nice.
Honestly, the stuff we bought on Black Friday was more like, hey, what can we get that's good deals for stuff that we've been looking at?
Yeah.
The stuff for the kids, our kids are older. Like, it's whether it's Black Friday or Cyber Monday or whatever, like that, whatever deal is going to be out there, it's going to be there. But I got these. I got a portable charger that, like, it's the kind that you can use as a, how you doing, induction based charger. Mm-hmm. What's that called?
Like the wireless charging.
Wireless charging. Yeah, thanks. I know that it's induction based, but I can't say wireless.
Right.
Fucking moron.
It's the concussion.
Jesus Christ. Anyway, yeah, so I got that for it was like 70% off. Was one of the deals on Amazon. So
nice.
We were sniffing around for stuff like that, but yeah, we didn't go crazy either. And it's, I'm sure there was lots of really good deals out there. What I really wanted to get, like, you saw it here last week. There was that, the pre-sale where we got that one item.
The thing.
The thing. So we did get that. And then we've been trying to find an Xbox X. Because I want to upgrade to an Xbox X.
As you should, because they're awesome.
Yeah, but you just can't get them.
You haven't been able to find them since the fucking things came out. That and the PS5. They've been so fucking hard to find for over a year now, which is surprising. Like, for the first 6 to 9 months, I get it. But for an entire year, and obviously a lot of this has to do with COVID and the fucking supply shortage and the chip shortage. That's a huge thing. Right. Fucking video cards for computers right now, forget it. Like, you're paying out the ass for something like that. So, yeah, it's just a weird time where normally, after the consoles had been out for a year, it shouldn't be hard to find them.
Yeah, it's really remarkable, but it's fascinating times we're living in. You know, honestly,
Yes, it is.
it's only going to get more interesting. Sadly.
Yeah. We'll see. The fucking Omicron variant or whatever the new fucking panic is.
Well, what's the, God? Omicron Spy Master.
Yeah.
From Archer.
Right. Which Omicron, it's an anagram for moronic, but that's a whole other story. All right. So, do you need a break before we get into our main topic, or do we just want to
do?
Okay. Then we're going to take a very quick break and then get into our main topic, pet sounds, after this quick word from our sponsors. And that is your cue to go. He does. All right. This is the point where Jason scrolls up and tries to catch up on any relevant chat that he missed. I see we got a lot of Red 5 folks in the chat tonight. Welcome to all of our Red 5 brothers and sisters. Ivo talking shit. Oh, no, he's not. He's saying happy birthday to Rob. Oh, his son is 7 and he's sad already. Yeah, man, it's they grow up quick. They grow up so fast. Stone Bleeds wants to show people his Pokemans. I don't think we're talking about the same thing there. Oh, that Hawkeye show. I didn't even realize that Hawkeye show was coming out. Still not interested in anything Marvel right now until Spider-Man comes out, which, fuck, I forgot to buy tickets for Spider-Man today. Are there any still available? Should I even bother looking? Because today the Spider-Man tickets went on sale. I heard there was a big thing about not being able to find, or the website's crashing. See Marlton, because I know at least one of my kids wants to go see it. Marlton 8, Spider-Man. We're attempting to buy movie tickets as we speak. Kristen's so funny, by the way. We're talking about the new Spider-Man movie. And I'm like, yeah, it's the third Spider-Man movie in this series. And she's like, oh, I like Spider-Man. I'm like, you haven't seen any of the new Spider-Man? She's like, yeah, I did. We went and saw the one together. I'm like, that was the first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man in like 2001.
Oh, I mean, she liked it. Obviously.
I mean, technically we're coming full circle with these. But, all right, Thursday, December 16th. Am I off that Friday? That would be a good thing to know. We're doing it live, folks. 3D. 7:30. Let's say 3. $15. God damn. Oh, there are not seats available. Thanks. Okay, I'm gonna have to do this later. But you can apparently already buy them through the end of December and into the first week of January. The Spider-Man tickets.
Wow, they're actually selling out.
Oh yeah, no, this movie's gonna be fucking dope.
Yeah?
Yeah, this is the thing that's gonna bring me back into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. All right,
God,
I'm gonna go.
What is this? 11th to 14th. What's that mean? What is that? I don't understand what that means. Ugh. What does that mean? Oh, guys. Guys. I'm a grind spy master. Doop-dee-doo. Don't forget. Wait, what? These aren't the words. Oh. Down the gym, down.
There's all kinds of commotion out there.
Is there?
A lot of people coming and going.
It's the holiday season.
All right. Should I get? How much of this is like? Motherfucker. Going through this really fast. All right, let's do this.
All right, 30 seconds starting. Meow.
And we're back. So, the Beach Boys, Pet Sounds. 55th anniversary came out in 1966. 10 years before we graced everybody with our presence on this earth.
Facts.
So, this is an interesting topic because this stuff was all before our time, but this album specifically is one of those albums that kind of transcends generations. And when we get to the end, we're going to talk about some other albums that have done the same thing. But yeah, let's kind of focus on Pet Sounds. So released May 16th, 1966. This was the 11th studio album of the Beach Boys, which when we get into it, we're going to talk about the first 10 albums came over like a 4-year span. So music industry was a little bit different back in the 60s.
Yeah.
So we always like to start off with these kinds of topics, talking about our history with whatever it is. And specifically, we're talking about Pet Sounds. And for me, we kind of touched on it earlier in the show, but I was not a Beach Boys fan. I was aware of the Beach Boys. I knew some of their songs. But for me, for a Gen Xer, the shit was all kind of corny. The same way that I looked at the fucking Monkees, the same way that I looked at the early Beatles stuff. You know, it was all just very corny sounding, like super poppy stuff, especially when you think about the Beach Boys and the surfing USA. And I don't even want to hear any of this whole like California talk. Well, you're from California, don't you surf? No, I don't. Just because I'm from California doesn't mean I fucking surf. So get that out of your fucking head right now. But yeah, as a young Gen Xer growing up in the 80s, the Beach Boys were not on my radar at all until 1988, which we'll talk about when we like talk about the band themselves. But yeah, didn't like or care for them at all until 2007, 2008 kind of time frame. I realized that I was never going to like a modern pop song ever again. At this point, like it was about 2007, 2008 that I realized like music had passed me by as an individual because, you know, just like nothing new piqued my interest. And honestly, since like 2007, there have been maybe a dozen songs that have been created over the course of that time that I've actually liked. So, you know, as we get older, we kind of get set in our ways, especially when it comes to music, and we gravitate towards either the shit that we listened to when we were kids or some things that we kind of go back to and listen to that, you know, might have been popular before our times, which is how Pet Sounds kind of dropped in my lap because, you know, I was sick of modern music, but I'd already listened to fucking Guns N' Roses and Metallica a billion times each. So I was talking to a buddy of mine who's kind of a music connoisseur, and he started getting me into some of the Beatles more like, you know, sort of out there albums. He got me like listening to the White Album, to Sgt. Pepper. And I'm like, okay, this is good shit. Like, I'm liking this. Throw some more stuff at me. He's like, well, what do you think about the Beach Boys? I'm like, fuck the Beach Boys. He's like, oh, hold on. Have you listened to Pet Sounds? I'm like, no. He's like, all right, listen to Pet Sounds and then get back with me. And I listened to Pet Sounds. I'm like, oh, I get it. So that was my introduction to Pet Sounds, was listening to it at the advice of a friend who was really into music around 2007, 2008 timeframe.
Okay.
And the rest is history. Like ever since that year, I've listened to this album, you know, fucking 50 or more times. And one thing that you mentioned before we started recording is it's a very short album, 38 minutes, I think you said.
Yeah.
So you can listen to it pretty quickly, and it's easy for, you know, one way of our commute.
Yeah, you think about it like this disc, right? This LP. The LP that we have here in the studio is it's not an original pressing.
Like I almost nutted in my pants when Dave walked in with that thing.
I have an original pressing somewhere. Like I was telling Jason, this is a 2016 pressing, so that I have something that I can play.
You've got it on vinyl. That's all that matters.
So I can play more frequently. There's 6 songs per side, or 7 on side 1, 6 on side 2, and yeah, it's just not very long. It's just one LP.
Yeah, each song is less than 3 minutes. It feels like there might be a couple that went over 3 minutes, but they're all short songs.
Yep.
It's a very quick listen, but it's so good, and we're gonna get into it as we get going. But I want to hear your thoughts on your history with the Beach Boys and this album in particular.
All right, before I do that, I'm going to put this away properly because
He's got
proper record handling is a thing.
yes.
And I'm probably
You ruined my record, man. I just bought it.
It's... yeah, the guy with the fucking concussion should not be operating anything that requires hand-to-eye skill. Anyway, I'll put that over there for now.
Sure.
Fuck. Doing anything right now is fucking a challenge. So, Pet Sounds in particular. Well, let me back up. Beach Boys. I grew up as a kid, kind of going to the beach, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
very well documented on the podcast.
Yeah, talked about it a lot. California stuff notwithstanding, I mean, I spent some time on the West Coast, but it was in the San Fran area, when my dad was stationed up there, and we moved back to the East Coast. Again, a beach kid, especially during the summers. That beach vibe that you would get in the beach with the Beach Boys and kind of listening to oldies is something that was kind of always around. And again, the beauty of living in a major metropolitan area and growing up in one, I had several oldies channels that were playing these things and the very Beach Boys it was the pop music at the time, right? They had, like you said, 10 albums. Yeah. Right. So if you were listening to an oldies channel, you probably heard a Beach Boys song probably once an hour. You could hear a different song. So it's just something that I couldn't say as a kid. I was like, wow, Beach Boys, up until about 1992. So, and I've talked about kind of my summer of 92 was where that year, that was my sophomore year of my swim season, and I met my friend Jeff, it was my best friend growing up, and met him, and then was going down the shore with him, and that was kind of where Shore Dave started to merge into more of my personality.
Worlds colliding, Jerry.
Yeah, my full-time personality. So, and Jeff, his dad was a musician and a DJ, and his dad was more of a playing. The bands he was in was playing the Beach Boys and playing a banjo and more of a jazzy sound. So they were playing stuff that was what we're here on the Pet Sounds albums. Yeah, and the Beach Boys stuff was always on. It was just something we really enjoyed. So Pet Sounds and a couple of these songs, you want to hear this on the radio,
right? That's something that when we get into it, the record company really didn't like this because it didn't have a lot of single potential,
right? And so these songs, I would hear it and it was wow, there a couple of those are just really, they kind of got into it, and 2 or 3 of these songs were kind of they folded into my repertoire of these are my regular kind of the songs that if you're talking about the soundtrack of your personality, songs, Beach Boys songs that are off of this album in particular are part of what I would call the soundtrack of my personality. Okay, that's how Beach Boys in general, a lot of amazing music, and you can say what you will about what the Beach Boys were for their time and the Monkees and everything else. It was pop music. It is. That's what it was. But it was fun.
Yeah, and make no mistake, it was extremely popular. Oh, before Pet Sounds came out, they were riding high on a couple of back-to-back #1 albums. They were fucking rolling in it at this point.
God, think of Little Deuce Coupe, right? These albums. I brought my binder. We've talked about the binder, right? Our old CD binders, and one of the things I grabbed was I wanted to grab the binder because I know my Pet Sounds CD is in there, and it has the original book in there, which there's actually little biography stuff in there about each song, which I wish I knew that was in there.
Something that could have been brought to my attention yesterday.
Yeah. I mean,
Oh man, no, this is good shit.
there's
man.
actually good shit in there. But yeah, it was as I was building the binder and building the soundtrack of my high school, finishing my high school life and into kind of like early stuff. Beach Boys was a huge part of it because
Okay.
it was fun.
Yeah.
It was poppy, and the Pet Sounds songs. There's a couple songs on here when we get to the end and we talk about our top three.
Yep.
This is Kathy and My Song is off of this album.
Oh no shit.
Yeah, so it's obviously it has a huge impact and it's a big part of my personality.
Okay.
Which is ironic, right? It's such an obscure album. Like it's so obscure really to a lot of people.
Well, it was so different from what they were doing at that point. This was their big departure. And again, we'll get into it when we talk about Brian Wilson and wanting to do different things and the studio thinking this was terrible and just so much to get into. But let's talk about the Beach Boys themselves. So they were comprised of Brian Wilson, he's the guy, the driving force behind the Beach Boys. He's the guy when he was 16 years old in the mid 50s, he started like getting into piano, and like his father, Murray Wilson, was like a pianist and kind of into music. So Brian was listening to him and started getting into music and started getting his brothers Carl and Dennis to like sing harmonies with him when they were like 13 and 11. Like Brian would get them to like, come on, let's sing, let's do this. He'd start writing songs and they'd start singing together. So at a young age, Brian Wilson was already very quickly becoming like a music prodigy. And they brought in their cousin, Mike Love, which he's sort of the face of the group, I would say. He's the tall blonde guy. He does a majority of the lead vocals, even though Brian Wilson does most of the vocals on Pet Sounds.
Right.
Like Mike Love, if you look at the Beach Boys, like any old footage or even any like current stuff, like the Kokomo video, which we're going to talk about, Mike Love is kind of that face of them. And then another friend of theirs joined the band also. But yeah, they were initially managed by the father of the three brothers, because Brian, Dennis, and Carl were all in the Beach Boys, and the Murray was kind of their manager dad. And this wasn't like a Jackson 5 kind of Joe Jackson situation where he was like beating gold records out of them, but he was still a pretty stern leader of this group and manager. And there's some footage on YouTube where there's like him in the recording studio, the dad like getting on them about their fucking vocals and like, you're fucking flat and you need to put more emphasis into your vocal part and all this. So
I mean, it was the 50s, right? He's a parent of people in the 50s. That's what I would imagine. Like, yeah, be fucking stern.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, it paid off,
Discipline your
obviously.
kids.
And their initial name was the Pendletones.
Right.
Before they became the Beach Boys. And they were renamed after they got signed, which, by the way, they were signed on December 8th, 1961. So just about a week from now is the 60th anniversary of the day that the Beach Boys actually signed their first record deal.
See how timely we are.
I know. We're
Look at us.
we're on that shit.
Look at us.
Planned out. And then we talked about it. They released 10 fucking albums between 1962 and 1965.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And you talk about like, all right, here's how does the Surfer thing come out? Well, first album was called Surfin' Safari.
Mm-hmm.
Then, the next one was Surfin' USA, which is a great album cover, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Then the next one is Surfer Girl. And then the next one is Little Deuce Coupe, which I showed the album cover of, which honestly is one of my favorites. And then Shut Down Volume 2, All Summer Long, which is a really, really good album.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the Beach Boys Christmas album,
Which, well documented to be one of Dave's favorite albums ever.
then the Beach Boys Today.
Are we just going to skip over the Christmas album? We're not
Well,
going to...
all right. So look, it's Christmas time, right? And so here's, if you don't know, or if you're just tuning in to the podcast, and it's probably been a few years since we talked about it.
Yeah.
I, at one point in my life, was the assistant manager of a Christmas shop. Right?
In a mall.
In the mall. It was a subsidiary of Woolworth. If I'm going to date myself, I might as well date it with Woolworth was still a thing.
Yes.
And so we had Christmas music playing. It started in late September to kind of get us in the mood. And we had people come in to teach us how to wrap presents and decorate trees and shit like that. So when the store opened 1 October, it was all Christmas all the time, working fucking like 10, 12 hours a day between me and the other manager. And it was just like fucking Christmas, nonstop.
From September to
From
December.
September until fucking January.
Yeah.
And it got to a point in, we had this like, the music where it came from, because it was like next to the Woolworth. Like if you go into Cherry Hill Mall right now, where the Apple store is, right? You have that, there's like that sunken floor area where there's like a dining room thing.
Yeah, it's that restaurant that's right in the middle there. Yeah.
That used to be a Woolworth restaurant. And the Woolworth store was right across from that. The Christmas shop was right next to that. So like where the Apple store is, and there's a store there now that I forget the name of.
There's a Lego store right there somewhere too.
No, it's that one's a couple doors down.
Okay.
It was a Foot Locker at one point, but I think it moved. But anyway, Foot Locker actually was owned by Woolworth at one point. That store that was right across from the restaurant, like that storefront used to be where the Christmas shop was.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, by Thanksgiving, I was so tired of every fucking Christmas song ever created ever.
Yeah.
That I was like, you know what? For something different, I had the Beach Boys Christmas album. I had it on CD, which it's not in the binder anymore because reasons. And we started playing that, and it was great at first. It was great to hear something different, but that was it. That was like the last bit of Christmas music we played for a long time, and now I cannot hear it. Like Christmas music in general, like there's this like just this little notch in my brain that when Christmas music comes on, like my brain goes click. Like this is like, all right, don't hate everything. Don't go into Terminator mode because Christmas music is on. I've made a concerted effort this year to not be so grinchy and like embrace Christmas a little bit and the spirit of Christmas and all this other fucking bullshit.
Serenity now.
There's nothing wrong with the Beach Boys Christmas album in and of itself.
Yeah.
But if you listen to it for 10 hours a day for a month, you will not want to listen to it ever again.
Right.
I'm just saying. Anyway.
Fun fact, that was their second ever #1 album on the Billboard charts.
It was a good album. There's
Yeah.
a reason I owned it.
Yep.
And there's a reason that I don't own it anymore.
So getting back into the Beach Boys history a little bit. So in 1965, they had their first kind of departure from the surfing cars and teenage love.
Let's go surfing now. Everybody learn how. Come
Right,
on,
yeah,
safari
exactly.
with me.
Because I couldn't imagine.
Come on safari with me.
Anyway, we'll get to it. But yeah, Today, released in 1965, so the year before Pet Sounds came out. And it was a bit of a departure from that whole cars, surfing, girls, whatever. And also around the same time, the British invasion was happening in America. Obviously, the Beatles coming over, that whole fucking craze. And it really kind of caused the Beach Boys to have to adjust to the times.
Right.
Also around this time, Brian Wilson, in the middle of a plane flight while they were on fucking tour, has like this nervous breakdown. Is like sobbing in the aisle of the plane mid-flight and tells the rest of the band, I can't tour anymore. Like I have to stop touring right now. Massive panic attack, super anxiety. Would have been a great Gen Xer, honestly. Like you think about Brian Wilson, like the OCD, the fucking the panic attack, the antisocial disorder and everything else. Like he was one of us, really. Just born 10 years too early.
Yeah.
But
One of us.
But he has this massive panic attack. He's like, I can't tour with you guys anymore, but I'm still part of the band. I'm still going to write our songs because he wrote a good portion of their songs, did a lot of the composure and everything else. So he's like, I'm going to continue doing this, and I'm going to really go all in on this next project, which ended up being Pet Sounds. So that was kind of like what led into this. And then, of course, before we get into Pet Sounds itself, I just want to touch on it because we talked about it already. Years later, in our lifetimes, when the Beach Boys came back in 1988 to make the song Kokomo from the Cocktail soundtrack.
Aruba, Jamaica.
Ooh, I wanna take you, Bermuda, Bahama, come on, pretty mama. Can't sing anymore. We're gonna get like a YouTube strike or whatever.
Oh, fair enough.
But like, this was the first time in my lifetime that the Beach Boys were relevant at all, because I was already madly in love with Elizabeth Shue at this point.
Right.
You know, she was in the movie Cocktail. Tom Cruise was a pretty, rising star.
Yeah.
And, it was a catchy song, right? Now, this was after Brian Wilson had left the group. Like, he was not involved in any of this at this point. But I actually went back and rewatched the music video to this, and I'm like, yeah, that's why I love this so much, because, a 12, 13-year-old Jason seeing these girls, like, these massive fucking tits running along the beach, like skinny fucking bikinis, barely covering anything, and then Elizabeth Shue thrown in there, and then Tom Cruise doing his fucking twirly, like, bottle pouring and drinking, and which, watching this now, I'm the thing that comes to my head is I'm watching him and that other dude like do their fucking tricks making the drinks. I'm like, how much alcohol is wasted as they're flipping this shit, and you can see the liquid just flying across the room.
They're obviously doing it wrong. It's not supposed, like, there's anyway.
Yeah, but Cocktail, like, that was big at the time in '88, and I actually really liked that movie. I think I saw it when it came out on VHS, like a year or so later.
I don't know that I've seen that whole movie all the way through.
Really?
I should rewatch that.
Yeah, it's a fun movie.
Yeah, because it probably holds up. I mean, I don't know why it wouldn't.
Yeah. And I mean, now I'm more familiar with like the Caribbean and everything, whereas back in 1988, a California boy who had never left the state in his life, I didn't know shit about the Caribbean or any of that stuff.
That whole lifestyle would just seem so fucking foreign.
Yeah, but having been out there several times since then, there might be some more, stuff that clicks with me.
There may or may not be a a video that was filmed in Six Flags with me, my friend Jeff, and my friend Sean doing like karaoke for
Kokomo?
For Kokomo.
Oh god, I would love to see that.
Oh yeah, it's pretty horrific.
Yeah.
I think Jeff still has it somewhere. Jeff or Sean still has it somewhere, but that is oof.
I may have to reach out to some people and try to make something happen.
Yeah,
but
it was oof.
Yeah, but again, even with
that's where we was. It was bad, dude. It was bad. No drinking involved either. That was like like summer of like summer of '93, I think. Going to, or spring of '93 maybe. Going to Six Flags during spring break and just fucking goofing off and doing this thing. It was just fucking awful. Oh god, it was so bad.
Bad. God, I want to see that so bad. About to start stalking your friends on Facebook.
Oh god.
Be like, hey, are you the guy that has that karaoke video?
Hopefully it's not digitized anywhere.
Oh man, I could only.
I don't know why I brought it up. It's funny too. You talk about that was. Let's see. So in '92, like
92.
In '92, that's when I saw the Beach Boys live.
Yeah.
It was summer '92 on the beach in Wildwood. Fucking amazing. Like, if you take a kid who's already like a short kid, like kind of into like the oldies and stuff. Now put him on the beach with like his best friend and a couple of girls, and we were on the stage, like the side stage, right? Because the way that it was set up in Wildwood. Like the beaches in Wildwood are huge. Like if you look at or down on the Jersey Shore, in Wildwood, like basically the beaches are huge there because it gets all the fucking beach erosion from the northern beaches.
Right.
So it has like quarter-mile long beaches or wide beaches. So has this huge beach area. So when they had the concert, like I think it was just before think it was just before, while Wilson Phillips was on, or just after they had finished, because they were the openers.
Right.
We were on the
there
side
were
stage.
little relation. Wilson, you know,
slightly.
Yeah.
We were on the side stage, and that's when Mike Love had actually he was tossing out, like, my friend Jeff, I think, I'm pretty sure he still has it. Like, we got a set list, guitar picks,
Oh, sweet.
like shit like that from that show.
Yeah.
Just a great. It was just a great day. Like, it, again, cementing the Beach Boys into that. Like, okay, here's this layer of, you know, Dave's personality.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
All right.
Anyway,
good shit. So yeah, Brian Wilson has this fucking nervous breakdown on tour.
Sounds about right.
Goes off to like start work on Pet Sounds.
Mm-hmm.
And he's saying that one of his biggest influences was the Beatles' Rubber Soul album.
Right.
Because again, we talk about this British invasion was happening in 64, 65 in the US, and the Beatles, you know, they'd already been doing a lot of their like earlier stuff, their poppy stuff, and then they were starting to evolve. And this is when Brian Wilson's like, fuck, we gotta evolve too, and we gotta do some different things. And you know, he starts working on Pet Sounds, and he like immediately starts looking at different instrument types, and he starts working with this producer who brings in this massive band that, and we're going to get into it as we break down to the individual songs, but the sounds that they create with all these different crazy fucking instruments is just, oh, it's beautiful. And ultimately he created the Pet Sounds album.
Yeah, and I'd like to read the intro for this, because this is from
do it.
March of 1990. I'm guessing this is when the CD came out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he wrote this intro for the booklet for
Mm-hmm.
the insert. But before I start to read that, like, the sounds that you're talking about, it's really funny. You think about it. This as I'm putting together my top 3 songs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Thinking about the sounds in those songs that are so well defined is stuff that, if you piece it together, like mummers music, banjos, accordions, like some certain sounds like that,
Mm-hmm.
stuff that you would be hearing, like Paul Simon and Cecilia, you know, certain sounds that I can hear in other music that I think stems from the same type of sounds that I hear in this music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It has a lot of like these little bits and pieces, like, why do I like this sound so much? Because it, honestly, taken out of context, some of it sounds pretty fucking crazy.
Yeah. Oh,
Like,
yeah.
where the fuck is this coming from?
Yeah, like if you just listen to either the instrumental versions
Yeah.
or just like the only vocal versions, it sounds so different than when you put it all together.
Yeah, like, why is there a honking? Like, what's with
Oh,
the
we're
honking?
gonna get into that, and the bike bell, the ching ching.
Yeah. All right. So let me read this real quick.
Yeah, go for it.
This is out of the CD jacket for the Pet Sounds album. This is Brian Wilson wrote this March of 1990. In December 1966, I heard the album Rubber Soul by the Beatles, just like Jason had mentioned. It was definitely a challenge for me. I saw that every cut was very artistically interesting and stimulating. I immediately went to work on the songs for Pet Sounds. I called in a collaborator named Tony Asher, and we spent 2 months working on and off together. He proved to have the lyrical ability to work with me. Period. This is Brian Wilson writing, by the way.
Mm.
In January, I started making the instrumental tracks for the album. I made each track with a sound experience of its own. I was obsessed with explaining, musically, how I felt inside. This, I thought, could be the beginning of a new type of sophisticated feeling music. I definitely felt the need to compete with the Beatles. After doing 12 tracks and totally exhausting some of my musical creativity, I proceeded to play the tracks to the boys who had just gotten home from the road. They all flipped for the tracks and the songs. I did most of the singing on Pet Sounds because I needed to directly express my feelings to 2 people. It was a special project because the music world had heard from me through the Beach Boys, but I needed to get this one album out to my fans and the public from my heart and soul. I was in a loving mood for a few months, and it found its way to recorded tape. My voice turned up sweet this time. Oh, my voice turned up sweet this time. Caroline No is my favorite on this album. The boys filled out the album with me, and we had a classic on our hands. I experimented with sounds that would make the listener feel loved. The album was artistically set out in front of other albums and was, in truth, at the time, my biggest and best production. It was my first time I used more traditional and inspired lyrics, which emitted feelings from my soul and not the usual Beach Boys, air quote, kind of approach. Pet Sounds was an album alone. I think Don't Talk was good for me to make, giving me a peace of mind and spiritual satisfaction, knowing that many people would feel like I did. Don't Talk is one of the tracks on the album.
Mm.
That's Not Me was so great that I couldn't get enough listens. A voice or a song can be so comforting to someone who really needs it. I have always had an ear out for good voices. When you make a great album, it is good for your confidence, and it tells you that you can continue to record in that same spirit. I really fulfilled a dream with this album. Just before we did God Only Knows, Carl and I had a prayer session asking the Lord for guidance and maximum love vibes for this crucial signal. It was the first time anyone ever used the word God in a commercial song. At least this is what we were told. During the production of Pet Sounds, I dreamt I had a halo over my head. This might have meant that the angels were watching over Pet Sounds. This album is personally from me to you. Signed, Brian Wilson.
And I mean, God, he hits on so many things
Yeah.
in that, because you think about the lyrics to most of these songs and this journey that he's taking at this stage in his life. Again, you think about the panic attacks, the pressure that was on him to, continue to evolve and to do things better and bigger, the relationships he was going through. And we're going to break it down again as we get to the individual tracks and the themes of each song, because it's really deep shit. Mm-hmm. And you can, especially listening to that intro that he wrote, and you can kind of get into his head and see where he was at this point in his life. And God, you think about the musician, like, Mike Love referred to him as like the Stalin of the studio as they were recording, right? Because he was such a perfectionist. And they did the vocal tracks for Wouldn't It Be Nice like fucking 30 times, something like that. Right. Which for me, I quoted him as being like the Stanley Kubrick of music production, right? Do another take and get it right 127 times. And he was such a perfectionist because, again, he was that like so fucking talented musician at such an early age. And imagine doing 10 fucking albums in the same theme, the same surfing, cars, girls, and then wanting to branch out and like really needing to have that kind of departure and sort of express yourself musically and through the lyrics. And you can see it all right there. It's all, he's laying his whole soul out there.
Yep.
In the lyrics to all of these songs. And that intro just sort of ties everything together.
Absolutely.
Good shit. So we talked about it a little bit before, but the record company had zero faith in this after they kind of heard some of the final tracks of the album. They're like,
you can imagine why. I mean, honestly, it's
Yeah.
like, gee, it's such a huge departure.
Yes.
And honestly, like, if you've ever, hopefully, if you're listening to this, like on the podcast, I would highly recommend listening to the album.
yeah, for fuck's sake, go listen to it. You can get it anywhere for free.
Yeah, listen to the album first and then listen to us, because we're going to kind of break it down with the idea that you've listened to it before.
Yes.
But if you haven't, like, the album starts out with Wouldn't It Be Nice? And that song to me is probably the closest to a Beach Boys song as you're going to get on the album.
Yeah.
So it kind of, like, I can see the producers going like, okay, this is okay. This is a little bit different, but okay.
And that's the song that when I listened to this album for the first time, I'm like, oh yeah, I know that song. I've heard that song before.
Right. And then immediately after that, it's not the Beach Boys anymore.
Right.
And I could see like a record producer going like, what just happened?
Yeah.
Right. This is not the Beach Boys. Mm-hmm. And then proceeds to get further and further away from what the Beach Boys sound is. Mm-hmm. Now, the singing, the harmonizing and everything else is obviously the Beach Boys.
Oh yeah. They stuck true to that, and
right. It's their sound. It's them singing.
Yeah.
Throughout this entire thing, there's never a point where you're listening to this and like, this doesn't sound like the Beach Boys.
Mm-hmm.
It does the entire time. It's just how it interacts with the music.
Yeah.
is what's so different.
Yeah, because of the different instruments and the different themes too. Because again, lyrically, he's going in a real personal direction with a lot of these songs. So when it came out, it had very positive reviews from critics, but a lot of their hardcore fan base, they were kind of like, "What's going on here?" And it did not sell nearly as good as their previous few albums had. I was watching a YouTube video, and they were doing an interview with Lindsey Buckingham of Fleetwood Mac, and he's talking about like, hey, yeah, even the first time he had listened to Pet Sounds, he's like, "What the fuck is this?" as a music fan, and then he's like, when he started making music himself, he's like, "Oh, I get it now."
And that seems to be a theme with a lot of the musicians. Like some picked it up right away.
Yeah.
Like members of the Beatles.
Yep.
Some right away. Some others it took listening, and they had to be creators to understand what they were doing here.
Yeah, and if you Google it, there are countless famous musicians who credit a lot of their music and stuff and inspiration to Pet Sounds. I saw quotes from Tom Petty, Elton John, like you mentioned Paul McCartney. Paul McCartney and the Beatles, even though they were kind of rivals, so to speak, with the Beach Boys, they were very friendly with each other. In fact, there was a lot of good friendships between those two groups. And Paul McCartney said that God Only Knows was like one of his favorite songs ever.
Yeah.
And ultimately, Pet Sounds inspired the Beatles to make Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, which is hopefully an album that we discuss at some other point here on the show.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so... And even though it wasn't nearly as a success in America, when it went over to the UK, they were hungry for the Beach Boys. They had only just started to get a taste of the Beach Boys in the early 60s. By the end of the year, by the end of 1966, the Beach Boys were outselling the Beatles, which was a first for any band in like 3 years in that country. So all of a sudden, the Beach Boys were very, very popular overseas with Pet Sounds and, some of their prior music as well. So, again, not an initial commercial success, but over time, they eventually reached platinum. They eventually sold well over 1 million copies of the album because people went back and they started to appreciate it, to the point where last year, in 2020, Rolling Stone magazine, before, never mind, I won't get into that. Yeah. But, when they actually started, talking about music and music stuff, they did a top 500 albums of all time list. Pet Sounds was number 2.
Wow.
On that list. So
that's awesome. I did not know that.
Yeah, according to Rolling Stone magazine, in their 2020 top 500 albums of all time, they listed Pet Sounds as the number 2 album ever created, which is pretty important because Rolling Stone's always been a fairly reputable music publication.
Fair, yes.
So,
and for the record, just to not to put a finer point on it, but Sgt. Pepper was released in 1967, so next year would be 55 years.
Okay, so that may have to just go right into the docket.
Yep.
So,
I would agree.
And yeah, we could talk all day about the friendly rivalry between the Beatles and the Beach Boys. It was there's video of Paul McCartney being at the birthday of one of the Wilson brothers' kids. Right. So, and him talking about how much he loved listening to Pet Sounds and everything. So there was no animosity whatsoever between these two groups. They really respected and enjoyed each other's music.
Yeah, and like if you really, really break it down, it's kind of two different genres.
Yeah.
Like from musically, like.
But they do start to kind of.
They do, but from what they were in the early stages, I feel like it's such a different sound from the two groups.
Yep. And Supergirl 3000 in the chat wants to know what their number 1 album was. It was a Marvin Gaye album. I think it was the What's Going On album from Marvin Gaye for the Rolling Stones.
Huh.
Yeah. So, and apparently that's high on a lot of people's like top albums of all times list, which I've never heard it. So now I'm going to have to go back and listen.
Baby making music, apparently.
Indeed. So we talked about sort of the history and how we got to this point. Do you want to kind of break down some of these tracks and talk about some of these individual songs?
Because I'll tell you what, there's some good little nuggets in here that if you don't hit on them, then I will be able to.
Okay. So We
for like historical notes and some production notes.
we start off with track number 1. Wouldn't it be nice? And I mean, listening to it now, again, at this point in my life, I get it, man. It's a song about a young couple not wanting to kind of separate at the end of the night, because you think about the old days where in high school or even like right after, where you got a girlfriend or whatever, you're spending the day together, but then, you know, you got to drop her back off at home, or you got to go your separate ways, and you get those thoughts in your head. And it's like, oh, fuck, wouldn't it be nice if we could just, you know,
Wouldn't it be nice?
not have to fucking like go our separate ways, if we could just live together and just, you know, continue this throughout the night. And it's not even about sex. You know, it's not about sex or anything else. It's about like just spending the whole evening together and falling asleep together. Yeah. When, you know, when you're not used to that, when you're young and in love, you know, you want that. And I can even remember that with Kristen when her and I were first dating.
Yep.
Back in the day.
Absolutely.
You know, we'd spend a good portion of the day together, but then she'd have to go home. She'd drive home to her house where she still lived with her mom, and you know, I'd go back to my dorm room on base. And it's like, well, fuck, this sucks. It'd really be nice if we could just, you know, spend the whole night together. And again, it's not about sex. It's about just like continuing that good day that you're having with this person that you're really connected to.
Yep.
And you want to just keep that going, and you want to fall asleep next to this person and then wake up and them still be there.
You know, it's funny too. You think about music during this time, kind of pop music today, like we're really inundated with like sexual content, right? And not to sound prudish, everything's very upfront when it comes to that, right? Whereas in these days, like in the 50s and 60s, these songs, none of it is about sex, and not to insinuate that it is, but it's not something like it's talking about the relationships and the romanticizing. And unless you listen to songs like Under the Boardwalk by the Drifters, right?
Right.
Well, you know what's going on under the boardwalk.
Oh yeah, no, the shit was out there.
Yeah,
Don't get me wrong.
Like, it was definitely there, but it was not, you know, for the most part, it wasn't, like you said, this is heartfelt relationship shit that Brian Wilson is feeling, not like, I want to get in it.
Right, exactly. Because I mean, if you want to fuck, you can fuck. Like, you don't have to like, you know, spend the whole night together to get
Brian
it
Wilson
in.
Probably had to work for it. I'm not gonna lie. He probably did.
Yeah, maybe. But so one of the things that I did too with all of these songs is I broke down the special instruments that each song used. Now, each song does use some level of guitar, drums, bass,
right.
But then I wrote down some of the more unique instruments, and every single song on this fucking album used some sort of combination of unique instruments. One of the techniques that he used a lot too is playing the same notes on like multiple instruments at the same time to create this sort of homogenized, just crazy fucking sound.
All right, and they even said in one of the documentaries, I forget which one because I watched a handful of them. They talked about this, like in the studio, how even like the sound kind of blended together.
Yeah,
and it didn't. There was like this cacophony of sound, but that you realized made the music, whereas individually the sound wouldn't have made any sense.
Right.
But all together, it turned into music.
Yeah, it sounded fantastic. And some of the instruments they used in this song were the glockenspiel, a 12-string mandolin, the harp, horns, and dual accordions.
Yeah.
So
I love all the instruments. I think at heart I am a classical music guy, right?
Oh yeah, same.
And so adding all this extra instruments, I think is great. I love hearing all these sounds, and I'm super. I will tell you that this is not an ad for Apple, but the lossless Apple Music, like you're basically hearing it just like if you were listening to like the fucking album or the original track. I mean, in the car, especially when a fucking 17 speaker sound system, whatever the fuck is in there, like it sounds so fucking good.
Oh, I believe
you
it.
hear every pluck of that mandolin and everything. It was great.
Good
was
shit.
Great listening to.
And then we flow right into the second track, You Still Believe in Me, which to me, this kind of comes off as the guy telling his girl, like, I know I haven't been the best partner. I know I fucking suck sometimes, but all throughout this, you still believe in me and you're still with me. And it's almost sounds like his thank you. Thank you for sticking with me, even though I've been an asshole, I've been distant, I've been whatever over the course of our relationship up to this point. Oh, you seem like you were focused on something.
No, I'm listening. Go ahead.
Yeah, and then instrument-wise, this is the one where they use the bike bell. Like, somebody had the idea. Let's grab this tricycle, and do you remember the little thumb, the ching ching ching? You know, they use the fucking bike bell. They use the bike horn towards the end. They also, yes. Oh, don't even get me started on the song that never ends part. Yeah. But, you know, they do the trumpet, they do alto and tenor saxophones, clarinets, cymbals. They use the harpsichord in this one, and they do the double bass guitar, which is a theme through a lot of these songs and they mentioned that in one of the documentaries I was watching where he just took two bass guitars and they played the same note at the same time, and the way that they sort of resonated throughout the recording studio was pretty crazy.
Yeah, so in the track notes, the bicycle bell on the backing track is a remnant of an earlier song Brian recorded titled In My Childhood.
Oh, shit.
Brian discarded the melody and lyrics he had written for In My Childhood. All that remains of the song is the backing track with the sound effects. And the chord changes on You Still Believe in Me. Oh, and the chord changes.
Yeah. And of course, it's that song that never ends, right? Because you get this moment where it feels like it's over, right? They did the,
oh, wow.
Oh, go ahead.
No, so here's one of the production notes. To get the unique sound on the opening of this track, Tony Asher explains one of us had to get inside the piano to pluck the strings.
Yeah.
While the other guy had to be at the keyboard pushing the notes so that they would ring.
And that's because that's the doon, 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 doon.
That's crazy.
At the start of the song, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Insane the way they produce some of these sounds. And then, of course, you get to the end where you get to this crescendo, you were saying and then it dies down and you think the song's over. And then
and it's funny. This is at some point, you know, if you're like a Bronco Fett and you're not into this music, you're like, this is the soundtrack of a madman.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is
and you're not that far off the mark either.
No, exactly. It's like, this is all right, we're seeing the internal soundtrack of a madman. Like, of the never-ending pet sounds and fucking car horns and train whistles and all kinds of shit.
Yep. And then we go right into the third track, That's Not Me, which to me, we talked about this before we went live, but this is sort of the aftermath of like, oh, I'm going to pack my bags and move to the big city and make it big. And then, you know, this is the song about how it didn't quite work out as well as you thought. And everybody around you, including you yourself, were saying, that's not you. That's not the person that you are. This person that has these ambitions to move to the big city and try to make it big, where at the end of the day, you're really just living in a house by yourself.
Right.
Fucking lonely and everything else. That's not me. Is basically that song. And instrument-wise, really quick. Fuck, I lost my place. It uses the organ and the double bass guitar as a big emphasis point. Then we got Don't Talk, which is number 4, which to me, this is sort of the low point of the album. It's just, and it's not bad. Don't get me wrong. It's not a bad song. It's just, it's very simple. It's don't talk, put your head on my shoulder. And he basically says the same line fucking 100 times.
Right.
But it's kind of getting back to that sort of young love, you know, like being in physical contact with that person, you know, having them resting their head on your shoulder and listening to their heartbeat and all that. But
right. Very simple.
Yeah.
I don't disagree. Not every track is a home run.
Right.
I mean, but
again,
they'll have their element.
There's good things going on in that track if you listen to the vocals and everything, and they've got the organ, the double bass, the vibraphone, the violin, and the cello all going in that.
Nice. I love a good string.
Yep. Then you've got I'm Waiting for the Day, track number 5. Basically, it's talking about trying to get a girl on the rebound. Right?
Yeah.
It's talking about this chick that just broke up with a dude. Right. Like, when are you ever going to love again? I'm here. Hey. You know, I'm not that guy that you just broke up with. And this one, a lot of emphasis on the flute. You can really hear the flute throughout this. But then they've also got the English horn, the piano, the organ, the ukulele in this one, violin, and cello. So all kinds of fucking instrumentation going on in this.
It's one of those things where the I could pick out the ukulele really, really clearly for some reason.
Like for me, the flutes really stick out in this track.
Let's see if there's anything. Brian's use of dynamics on this track is particularly dazzling. After a powerful introduction, the track abruptly shifts into a beautiful oboe line, echoing the lead vocal. Listen for the symphonic sound of the flutes and an incredible series of tempo changes and the great background vocals and the warmth of strings near the tag.
Yeah. So.
And trance.
Then we have our first instrumental track.
Right.
Let's Go Away for a While. And this is something in my notes. Like we could have a long discussion about how in today's modern music, they couldn't get away with an instrumental track because that's not what modern music is about anymore. Like Katy Perry couldn't have a fucking instrumental track on a Katy Perry album.
She doesn't play a fucking instrument.
Exactly. And that's the kind of shit you lose with today's music. So another instrumental track, all kinds of crazy shit going on. Flute, trumpet, tenor sax, baritone sax, piano, vibraphone, violin, viola, cello. So lots of stuff.
Brian stated in 1967 that this was the most satisfying piece of music he's ever made.
And it's good. Like if you listen to it, it's got a mood to it. That whole instrumental track. But, don't go into it expecting crazy vocals because there are no vocals.
There are none.
Then we get into the Sloop John B, which I love the fucking intro.
Yeah, you know exactly what it is when it starts.
Yeah. It's a reimagining apparently of an old folk song.
Yeah.
The Sloop John B, which I'm not familiar with that at all, but I'm very familiar with this track where they reimagined it. They added all kinds of instrumentation, obviously, and then they even changed some of the words. One of the biggest changes is, "This is the worst trip I've ever been on."
Yep.
Heavy drug references in that line, but I can't say enough good stuff about this track.
Look, this is a great track. This is a well-worn track on my library. And well-worn to the point where I think the CD that is in that binder actually, I think, skips a little bit when it gets to this one.
Yeah.
Because it's been like backed so many times, which I didn't know was a thing until it happened. And internally, again, in my internal soundtrack, we've been on the road.
Oh yeah.
And there's been trips that have fucking just been horrific, and you just want it to be over.
This is the worst trip I've ever been on.
And yeah. So hoist up the John B. sail.
Indeed. So let's put a pin in that because I have a feeling we're going to come back to that when we get into our top 3 songs. But for instruments, flute, clarinet, baritone sax, organ, tambourine, and glockenspiel.
Glockenspiel.
Yeah, all used.
Glockenspiel, yeah.
Yeah. One other thing I want to add about this song, though, purists, like people that have gone back and looked at this, like people of our generation and future generations, they feel like this track, Sloop John B, really sticks out and doesn't fit the rest of the album as far as the tone of the lyrics and everything else. They think it's very different. But for me personally, because I only know it in the context of this album, it's perfect. And it flows perfectly off of that previous track, that instrumental track. So I couldn't imagine this album without this song.
True. I agree with you on that point. Like, this is definitely embedded into this album, but I agree with those that say that lyrically this doesn't fit because it's a folk song. This is something that reminds me it should be in like a Jimmy Buffett album where it's like this West Indies fucking sailors tune that they've developed into this song. Like there's some of my favorite Jimmy Buffett songs are of the same ilk. Yeah. It's some sailor song that's been turned into,
like a popular music song.
A popular song. This telling of this particular song, it's actually it's called the Kingston Trio, had done a version of this in 1927 of an
Damn.
original West Indies tune. So it's definitely like the words and everything are old from an older time.
Older than the Beach Boys, which
Yeah,
are to
well-
us are old. So, all right. And again, I have a feeling we're going to come back to that at some point
maybe.
in this episode.
Maybe.
Next track, God Only Knows. Lots of stuff going on here. First of all, as Brian mentioned, and I think I saw this in some documentaries too, the first reference to God in any popular music song, like having God in the fucking title of a song was, pretty controversial, because you think about it, we're talking the mid 60s here. Conservative Christians fucking ruled the world at the time, at least in the Western world, in the United States, the UK. So this was a big deal, because if you remember, around the same time, the Beatles got into big fucking trouble when John Lennon said something to the effect of, "Oh yeah, we're as popular as Jesus with like these current kids." Holy fuck, you'd think that they had like raped a bunch of fucking children.
Right.
Because of like
they had crucified Christ.
Right. Yeah. So that was
done it personally.
That was a big fucking deal.
Yep.
So like the religious right was a huge thing at this point. So having God in the title, God Only Knows, I could see being like, even the record company being like, do we really want to do this? But they went with it. And again, because it's a great song, there's no malice in there, and it's only in there because of how much this person loves this woman and everything else. Funny story. So Kristen listened to this entire album as research for the show to get ready as a listener, and she messaged me. She texted me. She's like, "I thought that was a Beatles song. God Only Knows," because she was talking about it. I'm
Really?
like, oh yeah, because apparently it was in that movie Love Actually, which she fucking loves. Christmas time movie, the British cast, a lot of British music, but God Only Knows was in that movie.
Okay.
And she thought forever that was a Beatles song, because if you listen to it, it does sound very Beatles-like.
Sure.
In the harmonies and the vocals and everything else. So I could see where that confusion would be. And again, that kind of leans into some of that inspiration that Rubber Soul had on Brian Wilson and vice versa. So
yeah, I can see that.
And again, you talk about Paul McCartney said that this was his like favorite song of all time.
It's a great fucking song.
Yeah,
it is a great song, and it's one of those songs where these lyrics kind of like with, oh shit, what was the first one? Fuck.
Wouldn't it be nice?
Wouldn't it be nice? Yeah, thanks. My fucking brain. Sorry. Yeah, it's again they're just great love songs, good love songs. Anyway, we'll come back to that.
Yeah, and instrument-wise, they used the flute, the French horn, the baritone sax, the accordion, piano, organ, violin, and cello. We move right into I Know There's an Answer. So much going on instrumentally in this. Like, I even said this is a very exhausting song lyrically, because it's so existential. If you listen to this song, it's really about like finding meaning in life and so much going on. But this, you think about, again, Brian Wilson, where he was in his life, fits perfectly.
Yeah.
With everything that's going on. I know that there's an answer. I know there's a reason why I'm here, why I'm doing this. Like, what the fuck?
No, I have to find it by myself.
Yeah. So, and that's another thing, like having to figure this shit out on your own. Like, what the fuck's going on in life and what my purpose is. And... Yeah. Oh, good. So, and I loved those little interludes too.
Yep.
With the fucking, the synthesized organ and everything. As far as like the instruments go, you've got the harmonica, the tenor and baritone sax, the keyboard, the organ, and the tambourine.
Well, yeah, the tambourine is in your in your face.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
like right there.
Then we move right into Here Today, which I fucking love this song, because if you sit down and you listen to the lyrics of this song from start to finish, it starts off as like a cautionary tale. It's like, hey dude, I know you're like really into this new girl that you just met, young love, blah blah blah, just take it easy, you know, kind of, you know, don't get too fucking into this yet. Take it slow, blah, blah, blah. And then you have this kind of revelation halfway through the song that the guy that's telling this other guy, like, fucking watch it with this girl is her ex-boyfriend.
Right.
You know, which you get that revelation,
Yep.
like, at least halfway through the song. It's like, hey, dude, I was the dude that she was with before.
Right.
Fucking
I've
take it easy.
I know.
Yeah.
I know, because I have firsthand fucking information about
Right.
this shit.
So, like, it's such a great... It's brilliant.
It's
like,
a
lyrically,
really-
it's a brilliant song.
It's a great short little... It's a short story.
Yeah.
It's just a little story, and it gets you wrapped up in it.
Yeah, and then you got that twist halfway
Yep.
through. It's like, oh,
Yeah, it's a great little tune.
He's the previous boyfriend. And I didn't write down the instruments for this one. I don't know what the fuck I was doing.
So here today was notable for its tempo changes, horn arrangement, and bass guitar sound. But it's probably most talked about because during the instrumental bridge, there's a conversation about cameras. Then you hear Brian say, "Top, please," which was his instruction to the engineer to rewind the tape to the beginning of the song so they could do another take. The almost unintelligible background chatter on the song is one of those happy studio accidents that enhances the record. and trans. That was the end of it.
Nice.
And Mike Love was the lead vocal.
Yes. Then we get into track 10. I just wasn't made for these times. You talk about the one song that I relate to more than anything on this fucking album. Like, I just repeat that over and over again. I just wasn't made for these times. I think about it when I go onto fucking Facebook and I get my 30-day ban for posting some shit in groups. You know, I'm just like,
What
fucking,
times were you made for then?
I don't know. But then you think about it from Brian Wilson's perspective and the fucking crisis he was going through in his mind. And he constantly felt like an outcast at every stage in his life. And, you know, that he wrote this song with that in mind, the fact that he was just the guy who always felt like he was on the outside, never fit in anywhere, with his family, with his band, with his friends, with his girls. It doesn't matter. He always felt like the outcast. Like, this song resonated with me more than any other song, even though I really related to a lot of the other songs on this album. But, like, I could really kind of put myself into his mindset and just feel like that fucking outcast.
So what he says about it is it's about a guy who was crying out because he thought he was too advanced and that he'd eventually have to leave people behind.
Mm-hmm.
He's all my friends thought I was crazy to do Pet Sounds.
Yeah, no, he's totally singing about himself.
Yeah,
like this is a autobiography about Brian Wilson. Like, make no mistake.
It was on this track that Brian first experimented with the theremin.
Yes, and that's when you hear the woo 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 woo, that wobbling sound, because it's yeah, exactly, yeah, because it's like some fucking thing where you're like waving your hands in front of it and it's creating that wobble sound. It's fucking weird. I looked up a YouTube video on it when I read this and I'm like, what the fuck is that?
How the fuck do you get in your brain, like, I need to make this sound? What can make that sound? Like, these, like, shit like that. This is why fucking guys like Brian Wilson and Lord help me, the Bert the sound
Reynolds.
guy. No, Bert fucking
Bacharach.
Oh, the sound guy for fucking Star Wars.
John Williams?
No, the sound guy.
Oh, Bert. Oh, fuck.
God damn it, Jason. I have a reason to fucking my brain not work.
Jamie, look that up. We've got a few people still in the chat.
Anyway, yes, 3 people. Anyway, yeah, these guys that can think about, like, what can I do to make this sound? Like, I need to hear this sound.
Yeah.
And they'll find things and they'll keep manipulating those things. Like getting into a fucking piano, plucking the string as they're hitting the key. Like, okay, that I know that'll make this sound. That's fucking bonkers to me. Like, being able to fucking do that. Fuck, what the hell's that name?
Somebody will get it for us. After that, we go into the next instrumental track, Pet Sounds. And then we go into the last actual song with lyrics, Caroline, No. which is another. So
Caroline, no.
as I'm listening to this,
Like
the
child,
the,
no.
the first couple of lines are, where did your long hair go? Where did that like happy attitude go? And I'm like, oh, his girlfriend became like a third wave feminist, right? She cut off all her fucking hair and she just became like an angry, man-hating fucking.
Do you want to hear what he says?
Yeah, what?
So, Caroline, no. Asher Remembers was written because Brian was saddened to see how sweet little girls turned out to be kind of bitchy, hardened adults.
Yes, exactly. and just listening to the lyrics of this, it's like, where did your long hair go? Where did your happy smile go? You used to be such a pleasant person and all of this stuff. And that's all I'm thinking is like, she cuts off all her hair. She becomes angry as fuck. Like, feminazi. That's what it is. He lost his girl to like fucking feminism.
That's fucking great.
Yeah, no, it's.
Oh my God.
That's all I'm thinking as I'm listening to this song.
And apparently you were right.
Yeah.
So, and then obviously the Pet Sounds was an instrumental.
Oh yeah. Oh, and then at the end of Caroline No was the dog barking at the train.
Right.
Which Kristen, as she was like listening to this, she's like, they fucking did a track where a dog gets hit by a train. I'm like, no, he's just barking at the train. Don't worry.
And this is where Pet Sounds came from.
Yes, exactly.
That's it. Like,
Yeah, and
there's no like big thing. It's Mike Love basically going like, they're trying to figure out an album name and they go, well, how about Pet Sounds?
Yeah.
There's fucking this dog barking.
Well, because that was two dogs that belonged to Brian Wilson. They were barking at that fucking train, and Mike Love's like, yeah, you got this track of like these two dogs barking at a fucking train. Pet Sounds. Mm-hmm. Boom. Done.
And then they fucking drove to the zoo to get the pictures to make the fucking album cover.
Yeah, with these goats. And apparently there's all kinds of stories of them like trying to feed these fucking goats and these goats being assholes. And
oh, dude, there's all kinds of pictures in the fucking jacket of this this thing.
Yeah.
With them with their fucking with the goats and elephants and all kinds of crazy shit. It's pretty funny. This is what we lose by the digital download. As much as I love you already displayed that.
What the fuck? I think my keyboard keeps hitting that.
As much as I love the digital download and the lossless music and everything else and having access to everything whenever the fuck I want it, this was kind of nice to be able to fucking pull out the old CD jacket and
let me pull this out
and be able to look and have these like little nuggets. I don't know, dude.
What are you talking
about? My brain hurts. These little nuggets of information.
It's the concussion.
My fucking brain hurts.
Yeah, no, but you're right. They're like having those inserts, those paper inserts. Like, I remember back in the day when most of the CDs that we bought in the 90s, they'd have like the lyrics to every song. Like, this goes even deeper than that. This goes into like the fucking origin of the songs and where Brian was at that point. But, you know, that kind of covers it for the individual tracks of Pet Sounds, which, again, if you're listening to this and for some reason you haven't listened to Pet Sounds, if you're the Bronco Fets of the world who just swears that they hate the Beach Boys, just listen to it.
And hate oldies.
Just listen to it. It doesn't matter. I hated oldies too, but after I listened to this, it was brilliant. And there's nothing that will probably ever be produced like this again. Maybe unless you count like the Beatles, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band,
right,
which we may talk about next year,
right?
You know, so musically, like as somebody who appreciates and loves music, it doesn't get much better than this.
And you have to, along that same ilk, you have to appreciate the fact that this is an artist at their peak. Like, they just did 10 fucking albums. This is at their peak, taking a risk.
Yeah,
that I'm going to pour my fucking heart out into this, risk everything, because this is how I feel about and put this music out there. Mm-hmm. Come hell or high water, this is it.
Yeah,
take it or fucking leave it. If you don't like it, fucking dear deuces.
And keep in mind, Brian Wilson was like 23 years old during the production of this.
Yeah, and he's still doing shit.
Oh yeah, no, like he's still alive today.
Yeah,
but
BrianWilson.com, he's still doing shit.
But I mean, just thinking, like at 23 years old, I didn't even know what the fuck I was doing with my life at this point. Where this guy, like, he knew what he was doing and he was creating this just incredible fucking music. So he was truly something. Well, is truly something special.
Yeah. Sorry. So now we got to do our top 3.
We do have to do our top 3.
Yep.
So as part of this, and as we do in every music episode of the podcast, we always do like a top list. So we're each doing our top 3 songs
Yes.
of the Pet Sounds album.
Right.
Why don't you get us started?
I will start.
In here. Hoo, hoo, hoo.
How dare you?
Sorry.
All right. Number 3. I know there's an answer.
Okay.
There's so much going on this track.
And that's exactly what I wrote in my notes.
It takes
like,
a
there's
huge
so
ride.
much going on.
It's a huge ride of like all these different, like all the different instruments and lyrically, and they're just I just love it. I love that there's so much going on, and it's so much going on, but it's not too much. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
It's
like you can grasp.
Yeah.
The concept.
Yeah.
The cool thing too is, like I mentioned, like how it's this whole existential crisis he's having with himself. At the same time, he's also observing his friends who are just like fucking loaded up on drugs and just like, you know, basically tripping the day away.
Yeah.
And while he's like, there's got to be something more and everything else.
And
so.
and honestly, it's just like you were saying, like you kind of internalize this a little bit. Like you're like, fuck. As somebody who, for me personally, like I'm always in this analysis mode where I'm trying to find answers for everything. And yeah, just it resonates slightly.
Yep. So that goes right into my number 3, something that resonates very heavily with me that I already talked about. I just wasn't made for these times.
Right.
I mean, like, I think this almost every fucking day as it is right now. As a Gen Xer living in a millennial and Gen Z world, I'm just like, I wasn't made for this, man. This is not the world I grew up in, and I do not get this at all.
It's for that song in particular, musically, it's not one of my favorites off of this album, just because tonally it doesn't really do it for me.
Sure.
The lyrics though, totally.
Yeah.
Like I'm with you. Musically, it's definitely not my favorite. And the video is fucking weird as shit. But,
yeah, and that's the thing that we didn't even really bring up is the fact that they made music videos for a lot of these fucking tracks, and some of them are out there.
Oh yeah,
just as out there as the album itself.
Yeah, he's Mike Love drinking out of a boot, his own boot.
Yeah,
like smelling his fucking shoot.
Yeah,
there's some weird fucking shit.
All right, so my number 2.
Yep.
The opening track, Wouldn't It Be Nice?
Yeah.
Again, something that it's so easily relatable. Something that I like, even though this is like fucking almost 25 years in the past for me, the days of young love and all of that stuff still resonates with me. Listening to these lyrics, it's like, fuck, you're dating this person. It's like, wouldn't it just be nice if we could, you know, fucking go home together and sleep in, you know, the same bed together and all of that. And
right.
And again, it's not about sex. It's about just being with that person that you want to like spend your evening with and you want to wake up next to.
Yep. No, I agree.
Like totally resonates. Like more than anything else, I've experienced this in my life, and yeah, I get it.
Totally.
So your number 2.
My number 2 is Sloop John B.
Yeah.
I love that song.
Yeah.
I just love it. I kind of mentioned it when we talked about it earlier. I'm a fan of like that. I don't want to say sea shanty to and take it out of context, but
sure.
This like old sailor songs that are turned into like I said, Buffett has done it with a couple songs. I like that, taking those older like sailing songs and turning it into, you know, modern air quote music. I love this presentation. I love that it's on this album. You know, even if it doesn't fit exactly lyrically, I think with the music and the instruments, that the way they did it, it's perfect. And it's like, I think it's the first song on side. No, it's the last side. It's the last song on side 1.
Yeah, because it flows so well with that previous track, that instrumental track, and then it just goes right into the bells, the ding, 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 ding. We climb on the stoop, John B.
It's just such a great track, and I love it. It's a great track.
I agree. You're number 1.
My number 1. My number 1. This is really hard.
That's what she said.
My number one. All right, so I'm gonna be honest. I have two number ones.
All right, you know what? I'll give you that because it's such a unique album and everything else.
I have two number ones.
Okay, well, let's hear them both.
My 1B
Uh-huh.
is God Only Knows.
Mm. I had a feeling that was going to be one of them.
Yep. And my 1A is Wouldn't It Be Nice? Now,
You said one of these songs was yours and Kathy's song.
so Wouldn't It Be Nice is like our go-to song.
For you and
our
Kathy.
song. Yep.
Okay.
But God Only Knows is right there as well.
Mm.
Like they're both when we were dating and kind of growing up and maturing as a couple and everything else. These are like when we hear Wouldn't It Be Nice? Like that's, hey, listen, do you hear that? That's our connection. That's for our song is for Wouldn't It Be Nice? That's why it's like at 1A.
Yeah.
But God Only Knows is that connection to our relationship. Do you know what I mean? Like I can't parse one without the other.
Right. And we didn't really dissect like the whole meaning of God Only Knows, but it's really like the guy's like, without you in my life, I'd be fucking nothing.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
Even though it starts off, which is funny because it's like, if you left me,
I may not always love you,
but life would go on. And at first you're thinking like, oh, what an asshole, right?
Right.
Like if you ever left me, life would go on. But
I may not always love you, but so long as there are stars above you, you don't never need to doubt it. I'll make you so sure about it. God only knows what I'll be.
Right. So it's like, even if like we break up, yes, life will go on, but there's no point in life going on because without you, I'd be fucking nothing. Yep. So, it's a real heartfelt song.
It is as close to a poem as I would ever write to anybody. And, for Kathy and I think these, like I said, these two songs, like when you hear it, this is kind of like this is something that's, important for us.
Yeah.
Wouldn't It Be Nice is just, you hit it. You hit it exactly. It's when you're dating and hey, here's the end of this night. Wouldn't it be nice to make this our lives, continue this?
Because how many times have you been like going out with a girl and at the end of the night you had to like fucking drive to her house and drop her off and she had to get out and then you had to go home alone and fucking go home and jerk off and that's all you're gonna do.
That's all you're gonna do.
Right?
Look in the mirror, like that's all you're going to do.
But yeah, like how many times did we do that growing up? Like, especially towards the end of the high school and afterwards, it was all the fucking time. So that was that whole, God, wouldn't it be nice if we just had this life together?
Yep.
And,
So I cheated. I took two number ones.
And you know what? I'll allow it. So, and then my number one, Sloop John B. Fucking love that song.
It's just such a good song.
I could sit there and just sing that song all day in the fucking car.
I can tell you right now that if it looks, I probably can't have it on my phone, but like after I listened to the whole album, so I got in the car to drive home and I started the album. I knew it's like, a little less than 40 minutes. And it takes me about 45 minutes to get here from the base.
Right.
So I knew I'd be able to listen to the whole thing. And I played Wouldn't It Be Nice? I Know There's an Answer, Sloop John B. I Know There's an Answer, Sloop John B. Like I kind of went between the two of them because I Know There's an Answer. I toyed with the idea of doing this. I have two number ones. I'm like, should I really do that? I'm like, fuck it. Who gives a shit? There's no rules.
This is our show.
Yeah, exactly.
We do what the fuck we want.
Like, oh, he broke the rules. Oh, fuck, what rules? What?
Right, exactly.
So I was like, so I need a real number 3, and this was my number 3. Just because I Know There's an Answer is like, I just enjoy the song. There's so much going on.
Yeah. Musically and again lyrically, like you can dig so deep into that song.
Yeah. And look, to not to put too fine a point on it, but it's good music.
Yeah, and again,
from a band that most people would look at and go like, oh, that's just some surfer band.
Which is exactly what I did for years. Like I looked at the Beach Boys. This is just some corny like poppy surfer shit that came before my time and I don't fucking care. It wasn't until somebody told me, no, listen to this album. Put it on, listen to it from start to finish, and you'll understand. And I did, and it made so much sense.
You know what? Part of the problem is too, like the Beach Boys are still doing shit.
Yeah.
As old as they are right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can go in Wildwood. There's tickets. You could see the Beach Boys in Wildwood. They're in the convention center.
Yeah.
Not out on the beach.
Right.
Not like it was in '92. I mean,
Yeah.
fucking, it'll be 30 years this summer since I saw them on the beach.
Yeah. And they were in their 40s then, probably.
Probably.
So.
Yeah, they were looking old at
Mm-hmm.
that time. I mean, they were still killing it.
Jamaica. Ooh,
They were still
I
killing
wanna
it.
take
Since
Yeah.
you put me down, I've been out to and in my.
Well, hold on. When you saw them, was Uncle Jesse playing on the steel drums?
He was not.
Oh, okay.
He was
Sad face.
Yeah, I think Supergirl earlier said the only way she knew the Beach Boys was
Oh, it was through Full House?
from Full House.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Anyway, yeah, they're playing music now, but they're playing they're playing shit from like Little Deuce Coupe and Surfing Safari. They're not playing stuff from Pet Sounds because they can't possibly.
Yeah, you can't replicate that in a live situation.
No,
and that's fine. You know, they have their poppy hits. They have the stuff that they can recreate. Pet Sounds is one of those things. You need to like dim the lights. You need to get a set of headphones, and you just need to close your eyes and you need to listen.
For sure. And I think there was one of those documentaries that actually said it, and I 100% agree. You need to put yourself in a sound environment, either with headphones or like I was doing in the car.
Yeah, Brian Wilson said that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said turn off all the lights, close your eyes, put on headphones, and really listen.
Give yourself an opportunity to hear all the little elements, because honestly, if you get nothing else from us, Jason and Dave, and you're still listening, like listen to John Williams, whether it's Star Wars. I deliberately said John Williams.
Okay.
Don't worry, I'm not having a
I'm
stroke.
like, wait a minute.
Like when you listen to John Williams or George Gershwin. Like Gershwin is one of Williams or Brian Wilson's influences, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you listen to Gershwin, listen to John Williams, listen to, I don't know, the London Philharmonic, listen to those types of musics, listen to Pet Sounds. Put those albums on with a set of headphones and give yourself the best possible opportunity to hear all those individual instruments. Like listen for it.
Yeah.
Like don't listen to the cacophony of sound. Listen for those individual instruments and to those individual sounds.
Yep.
And then listen to how all those sounds come together. And you'll have a completely different experience.
And even with the vocals, listen to the harmonizing, listen to some of the backing vocals. Don't just listen to the guy singing in the foreground. Listen to what the other guys are doing in the background.
Mm-hmm. The Beach Boys are one of the best harmonizing groups probably to ever come out of the United States.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly.
Yeah, it's fucking fantastic. So
at least for white guys anyway.
we can't say enough about them.
Yeah.
And that's that. I kind of hinted a little bit before. Yeah, I saw that. She's hilarious.
Yeah, that's great.
Again, if you're not subscribed to us on YouTube, if you're just listening to the audio, you're missing some hilarious trolling from my lovely wife, who I love very much, in the chat. But some future albums that I want to cover that kind of go along these same lines. We talked about the Beatles, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, which was inspired by Pet Sounds, came out the next year in 1967.
Yes.
Which hits its 55th anniversary next year.
Right.
Probably going to happen here on the show.
Absolutely.
Another album that I absolutely love that I could listen to from start to finish multiple times and never get tired of it is Dark Side of the Moon. I don't know if that has any kind of anniversary coming up, but Dark Side of the Moon is another one of those fucking albums that you can listen to from start to finish. It's got a fucking million different things coming at you from all kinds of different sides. I would love to fucking talk about that at some point. And I'm sure you've probably got some things also, some full albums that you'd like to break down. And that's the thing about this episode. This is the first time that, we've done music episodes before, but it's been like either groups or like genres or fucking time frames of music.
Right.
This is the first time we've sat down and broken down an entire single album.
Right.
Track by track and everything. And I want to do some more of that as we go along.
Yeah.
So
I love it.
Definitely expect Sgt. Pepper next year at some point.
Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band.
What would you think if I sang out of tune?
All the time. You sing out of tune all
Would
the
you
time.
stand up and walk out on me? Lend me your ears and I'll sing you a song.
Just try not to sing out of key.
Exactly.
I know this album.
So,
I know things.
indeed you do. Next week.
Hang on. Should we do
Well, let's talk about next week, and then you can do your final Red 5.
and
talking
Cantina
points.
Family and all that good,
Yeah,
good
yeah.
stuff?
So next week, we're covering the next part of Star Wars Visions.
Right.
We did the first, 4 shorts in Star Wars Visions.
I feel like we did that like last year.
It feels like it's been a while.
Yeah.
That was before
I
our
may have
break
to
and
rewatch
hiatus.
the first 4 and then watch the
Well, something tells me you don't need to watch the first 4 to know what's going on in the others because they're all isolated
Well, this is
individual
true.
stories. You can if you want. I mean, I'm not going to stop you.
Yeah, I probably won't.
But yes, next week we're talking about the next part of Star Wars Visions. The week after that, we're getting into The Nightmare Before Christmas, which I'm going to reveal this right now. I have never seen all the way through from start to finish, Nightmare Before Christmas. So this will be an interesting episode to get into. Wow. Y'all in the chat can go fuck yourselves. But yeah, so that's what we have coming up on the docket over the next 2 weeks. And
Okay.
Dave, while I take a piss, why don't you talk about the friends of the pod and the rest of the Red 5 stuff?
I'm going to talk about some Red 5 news. Really hit on the Parsec Awards in the beginning of the show. Thanks again to the pod family, the Red 5 Network, our podfather, Ro and Andrew and all those that put that together. It was great. Go to the Red 5 Network YouTube channel and check that out. We are in there about minute 35. Subscribe, like, do all the things for that, and they're going to do it again next year. So it could be even better next year. Luna Girl's been sharing daily live stream schedules on all the socials. I know she did it for tonight. For nightly Red 5 live chats to hang in. There are 33 amazing podcasts, including ours, in the Red 5 Network, and literally something for every personality. For the complete list, visit bio.link/red5. That's bio.link/red5. Red 5. Coming up tonight, A Star Wars Story with Ashley and Brandy is reviewing Mandalorian Season 1, Episodes 5 and 6 at 2000 hours, 8 p.m. Eastern. WSTR Media is hosting cosplayer Julie Wilk at 2200. That's 10 p.m. for civilians. That I will have to I'll catch that on the download. And the Salty Nerds, A Case of the Mondays, begins at 2300, 11 p.m. for civilians.
Someone's got a case of the Mondays.
No, man. No, you get your ass kicked for that. As far as Cantina Family happenings, there will be no Used and Abused podcast this week. In the meantime, catch up on some past episodes on YouTube or on your favorite podcasting app for the Used and Abused podcast. Scott and Kim. Booth in the Back returns Wednesday to recap week 12
Fuck those guys.
of our fantasy
Fuck them
football league.
all. Right in their assholes.
Join Don Della Snooch, Brady Big Lovin', and Luna Girl in the booth.
Fuck them, fuck them, and fuck them.
6 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on our Sidebar Cantina Facebook page, which I will describe later once I scroll up. The Escape Pod returns from their holiday break this week with special guest Dragon Buddy
Hooray.
to review the new Ghostbuster Afterlife movie.
Yes.
Join them in the live chat. Catch up on past episodes at ATSW The Escape Pod on YouTube or on your favorite streaming app. Sweet Studios reports he is still waiting to harvest the Wonderland walnuts, and he's been answering Jerry's question for Trey B's YouTube channel. Subscribe to both Trey B and Sweet Studios on YouTube. Give Sweet a follow on Instagram, and join his new Discord server for the latest nutty updates. That's Sweet Studios on all of that.
Oh, I got some things to say in his Discord.
The Orange and Fat Show released 2 episodes last week. Episode 6 reviewed Ghostbusters Afterlife, and Episode 7 chatted about their Thanksgiving and their favorite Christmas music. Subscribe to them on Spotify and check it out.
I gotta get caught up on those because
Yeah, I gotta get caught up on a lot of shit.
yeah.
You can find us on Twitter. Apparently, Twitter's a thing.
Unfortunately, it is.
One-
Minus their CEO, Jack Dorsey or whatever the fuck, he stepped down today.
Did he?
And some other guy's taken over. It probably means nothing, honestly. Twitter is probably still going to be cancer, but whatever.
Thankfully, our social media director, Luna Girl, is all over keeping us super involved on Twitter.
Yes.
All over the Twitterverse and with Twitter polls and engagement with the Red 5 network and everything else. She is the best.
Yes.
You can interact with her at Sidebar Cantina on Twitter. For Twitch, you can find us at the Sidebar Cantina. Jason and I are hoping to do some more streaming. Twitter equals hashtag not my social media platform.
Yeah. Swedes all over those not my hashtags.
Yeah, not my fantasy football champ. At Twitch, hopefully we're streaming some video game play.
Oh, speaking of which,
at the Sidebar Cantina.
you asked last week if you can stream on Twitch with the Switch.
Yeah.
You cannot, apparently.
Oh.
Because Nintendo, like, they're so far behind when it comes to like streaming and everything else. Apparently, it's still a big pain in the ass to stream any of their fucking games. So
Well, that's par for the course. That's
Yeah.
Nintendo. Again, Twitch at the Sidebar Cantina. Look for us there. Facebook, we are the Sidebar Cantina. We are active in the private Facebook group. So search for the Sidebar Cantina.
when I'm not banned.
Right. The private Facebook group, the Sidebar Cantina. That is where we will be actually active on Facebook. If
When
I log
I'm not
in,
suspended.
that's the only place that I go, and when Jason's not suspended.
Yeah.
On Instagram, where where the money is made, at the Sidebar Cantina on Instagram, and our Discord server is the Sidebar Cantina. We do
Yes.
have merch. It's on TeePublic. For some reason, our store doesn't come up in their search, but the link tree in any of our social media bios and in the YouTube.
Yep. It's in the YouTube description. It's
Down
in
there.
the description of the audio episodes if you listen to us only on the audio.
Yes.
So it's there. You can find it.
You can
Do
find
it.
T-shirts, hoodies, wide variety of designs, sizes, colors for the entire family at our Sidebar Cantina face masks, tote bags, phone cases, exclusive stickers, pins, just about anything you can imagine. Feel free to tag us with your merch so Luna Girl can share it on the socials. Today, since today's Cyber Monday, I think it's 35% off site-wide for TeePublic. So
Oh,
you
shit.
have a couple hours to go on TeePublic, search for... use our links and buy some merch. Buy yourself something nice.
Do it.
And if you buy the Fuck Cancer and Our Besh, I take that, whatever money we get from that, I'm sending to the family of Tom Young's widow.
And then whatever you spend on any other merch, he puts it into cocaine.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug. For reviews, 5-star reviews. Did we have any 5-star reviews?
We
this
did
week?
not. I'm looking right now, and nothing new since last week.
Luna Girl is dying to throw stickers at you, so leave us a 5-star review on your favorite leave us a 5-star review on your favorite podcasting app. Screenshot it, DM us your pick of your 5-star review, not your dick. Don't do that, especially not to Luna Girl.
Yeah.
No unsolicited dick pics.
Yeah.
Just-
Dave likes him, though. Send him to Dave all you want. He really wants to see your dick.
If you leave a 5-star review, DM us your pick
And your dick.
and your dick on Instagram or Twitter. She will have your Sidebar Cantina stickers in the mail the next day, and we'll read your review word for word. And we, Jason and I, will read your review word for word on our next episode.
Yep.
It's that easy.
Yeah.
It's way easier than I just made it sound. Do a review, fucking screenshot it, DM it to us. Luna
Send
Girl
Dave a
sends you
dick
stickers.
pic. We'll give you a dick rating here on the show.
Oh, God. You can write one sentence or an entire page, whatever your heart desires. And
Derailed.
that, as they say, is that.
All right. And we've already talked about next week. Stick around if anybody is still watching us for the YouTube after show. But otherwise, thank you for bearing with us throughout this whole episode. I had a great time. I love talking about these kinds of albums,
Oh, yeah.
and more will be coming soon. next year. So
That's what she said.
indeed. And thank you, Dave, and everybody else for joining us. And until next time, go fuck yourself.
Oh,
Good sound.
Okay, now what do I click?
Oh my god, by the way, on the Parsec Awards, I love that they left that in. The now what do I click? I also thought it was hilarious that they kept in when Kristen walked in just as we were about to start recording the fucking video. Like Kristen walks in, we're like, all right, we're gonna start doing the bit in 3, 2,
Blink.
like motherfucker, and he left that part in, and then he did like the 3 hours,
later.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
The SpongeBob bit, yeah, that was
good. Good editing on the Red 5 guys part.
Oh man. Excuse me. Oh, I actually held it together pretty well.
I'd say so. I could tell you were kind of like phasing in and out there.
Yeah.
But overall, yeah, you stuck with it. Good job, despite the head injury.
God. Go to the doctor's tomorrow.
Yeah.
They can't do shit. I don't.
Yeah, they'll probably look at you like, yeah, you've got a concussion.
Yeah.
Like, what do you want?
Dude, so here's the thing. I think what I need to do is I need to do my own baseline. Like once this is kind of ran its course, like in order for effective concussion protocol, you need to have like an established baseline.
Like know what's normal.
Yeah.
So which for you normal is.
Yeah. My straight, regular, medicated normal. And then, have that so that if there's any variations on that, then I have something to compare it to.
Oh, fun fact. Guess who's on Trazodone now?
Oh, nice.
Yeah, me. Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Good stuff.
It is good stuff. When you getting your surgery?
Well, I mean, we might start the process in January.
All right.
So.
It'll be better once it's fixed.
Let's hope.
Yeah. But yeah, you can't effectively diagnose a concussion really without having the baseline, because otherwise you're just guessing. Like all the traditional shit, like I said, like pupil dilation, whether or not you're nauseous, everything else. I mean, I fuck between the goddamn light show, I was nauseous, the dry dude, literally. This happened at the Goodwill in fucking Audubon, right?
Yeah.
We were dropping stuff off at Goodwill, and I was 4 feet away from the doorway when I went. I was cruising. I was at FMP, man, fucking full military power, right into the fucking door jam, and I hit my dome.
Yeah.
Right. Like it wasn't even there. Like my brain, there was no collision warning. There was nothing. It was wham! And after we offloaded the rest of the stuff, got in the car, and we were supposed to go get something to eat because we had been at the lodge all morning. We hadn't eaten.
Yeah.
Like, all right, let's go to Wendy's. And I'm like, okay. Well, I know we don't like the Wendy's in Belmar, right? Because it's just a crappy Wendy's. So, all right, we're gonna go to one in Deptford. All right, cool. So I left the parking lot and I start driving through fucking neighborhood, and I start driving through another neighborhood. And it was the most roundabout fucking way to get to Wendy's. And the whole time I'm like, where am I going?
Right.
Like, I'm just like, fuck. And we finally got to Wendy's, and Wendy's was packed. The one at Deptford had a line going around, wrapping.
Which
around
day
it.
was this?
This was yesterday.
Okay.
Yesterday.
I have a story about me and Kristen. I think it was Thanksgiving Day, going to a Wendy's.
Really?
When we were living in Stockton, California by ourselves. Oh yeah. It was either Thanksgiving or Christmas. Kristen, hit me up with that.
But yeah, so we ended up going Applebee's to go because the 2 for $22, you're spending as much as you would be spending at Wendy's anyway, and the food's better.
Yeah.
Applebee's compared to Wendy's, I mean, Applebee's, the food's going to be better. You get a better variety anyway. And I get boneless buffalo wings.
That's true. Yeah.
The one redeeming factor I will defend Applebee's for one thing. one thing,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the boneless buffalo wings. For whatever reason, I like them. Everything else I could give a shit about.
Right.
Like everything else is whatever.
Applebee's used to be great back in like '05 time frame, like 2005. They had the Applebee burger. Oh, it was so good. And then they got rid of it. They fucking cheapened their menu.
Well, yeah.
I haven't been in the longest fucking time because they really
That was empty. Thank
started
God.
going downhill.
Yeah, your wife said it was Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Why isn't she in here?
I don't know. She normally rolls in about this time, but I guess.
Maybe because of the
Did you shower today? Did you put on deodorant?
I might not have.
Ah, fuck. Well, then it.
I want to keep this in here.
That's
so
what
we have
he
it
said.
For referencing later. I'm gonna put it right here.
Again, that's what he said.
It's warm.
And soft.
Yeah, fucking TBI. What were we talking about?
Sliding in. It's warm, soft, a little wet,
Moist.
and tight. So anyway, your concussion, Wendy's. Took a roundabout way to get to Wendy's, then Applebee's, and
Then
that's
home.
where we stopped. Applebee's.
We went home.
Yeah.
And I watched the rest of the Eagles game.
Yeah,
It was awful.
yeah. I saw the final score. I'm like, ugh.
I don't remember. I honestly, I don't remember what I did the rest of the night. If it was anything, I don't.
Yeah.
Don't remember. So good stuff. Yeah, you take for granted how many times you probably hit your head when you were a kid. And then,
Right.
like, all the most awkward biner right now.
Does he mean boner?
I think so. Luna Girl's not.
She's very disgusted right
Yeah, a
now
little
with the post show chat.
Yeah, you like think all the times like you played football, right?
Mhm.
You played football. At least you had gear on.
Yeah.
All the times that I played football, like it was neighborhood touch football,
Right.
where we would go on the weekends and we'd kill each other. Like that's how I got broken ribs. That's how my head's bounced off the fucking ground more fucking times and bounced off the ground crashing my bike and fucking one time my dog dragged me like we had German Shepherds and my German Shepherd took off dragging me behind it like through one of my the neighborhood kids. Like she was like standing there trying to stop her and went through her legs and me and him fucking collided heads.
Ooh.
And it was like blam and fucking hit my lip. And it's actually like this part of my lip still is scarred from that.
Oh, no shit.
Because my teeth went right through my fucking face.
Ugh.
And blood and fucking crying and oh dude. Yeah, it was brutal. There's all those head injuries. And then like I was saying today, it's bouncing off the fucking inside of the airplane. Standing up, because where we used to work, we're sitting at this desk with a low ceiling.
Oh, yeah.
And then you go to stand up, and you go, bam, right into the fucking overhead. I can't, I did it so many times. So many fucking times. And now it's just, it doesn't take much to really knock myself silly.
Yeah. At this age, yeah.
It's not good. So
Indeed.
It's it is what it is.
Alrighty.
We're really doing Visions next week. Whose idea was this?
I think we wanted to keep the Star Wars thing going, because apparently most of our audience is still derived from our Star Wars days.
All right. God.
Maybe there's going to be some good stuff. We don't know. They're all different.
So I think what we have to do is we need other Star Wars content to fill the void.
Well, I mean, we've got Book of Boba Fett coming out in a month. That's going to fill our void for several weeks. So we should be good.
Well, no, I mean, like, can we do Visions and then do can we advertise this as we're going to talk about Visions, but also
add something else?
Yeah, like do what we think the Book of Boba Fett's going to be.
I mean, we can do whatever the fuck we want.
True.
So,
I'm just trying to talk this out.
yeah. I mean, seriously, it's our party. We can do what we want to.
Because I'd like to, I'll watch the Visions bit, whatever. There's only, like 15 minutes long.
Yeah, they're short. Like, I think we have 4 more to go. 4 or 5 more.
So an hour's worth of shit. Excuse me. So
there might be something good. I was entertained by a couple of those Visions episodes.
Yeah.
A couple of them were just like too out there. It's like, what is going on?
There's not 2 hours worth of content out of those, even if there was.
I mean, we could make 2 hours of content with almost fucking anything.
Facts. But I would rather have we're not going to talk about Book of Boba Fett until it comes out.
Right. Which we need to talk about that, by the way, because that comes out on a Wednesday. And if we want to be timely, we might have to record outside of our normal schedule that week.
So I would like to do here's what I think Book of Boba Fett is going to be.
Okay.
Let's do Star Wars Visions just to tie a bow around it so it's not hanging over us.
Sure.
And then part 2, take a pee break. Part 2, here's what David Jason think Book of Boba Fett is going to be.
Yeah, and we could even go beyond that, and we could talk about everything that's coming out next year. We've got Obi-Wan, we've got Andor. I don't want to
go that deep.
No?
I just want to talk about Book of Boba Fett.
Okay.
Because Book of Boba Fett's coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to see, like, it's one of those where if we're right, we get to, like, really gloat.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be like, see, I called it.
Yeah.
Based on nothing whatsoever. Just a lucky guess.
Sure. All right, fair enough.
And we can put our lucky guesses out there.
And that's the big thing too, because we don't know really anything about this show. We know he's taken over Jabba's throne. He's like, I want to lead by respect, not by anything. I totally feel like we're going to get something thrown at us that's going to drive this whole season, much like Mando season 1. We thought Mando season 1 was going to be about, oh yeah, he's like a fucking cowboy. You know, it's going to be a very Old West type thing. Boom. First episode, we get fucking Baby Yoda thrown at us. And it's like, whoa.
We get the child.
And that completely changes everything for this series.
Yeah.
But we had no fucking clue based on all of the promotional material and everything else that we got up to that point. We're like, okay, this is going to be like, an old Western theme kind of thing. He's going to be going around getting into adventures and all that stuff. And then, boom, first episode. No, this is what the show's really about. And it was brilliant.
Yeah. So let's save all those thoughts for next week.
Okay.
We'll do part 1, Visions.
Visions, Fett, and a pee break.
Right. But Visions, pee break, Fett.
Yes.
That order.
Yes.
That way we'll have a clean break.
Yes.
Or, relatively clean.
Yeah.
We don't wash our hands.
No, but I also don't piss on myself when I pee outside, so.
Really? I mean,
I try not to. I mean,
especially if you've been drinking a lot. I mean, sometimes you have a tough time getting it out of here.
It's fair. All right. Anyway, I think we're done here.
I would agree.
All right.
I need to go. I need to fight my.
Go home. Why don't you just go home? Answer me.
You're too good for your home. Yeah. Let's do that.
All right. Thanks everybody for sticking around this long.
All 4 of you for hanging in there.
And that was a fun episode. I like that.
Yeah, it was. Looking forward to the next one.
Indeed. So, peace out, bitches. We'll see you soon.